evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to NASRA 360 Racing Network's broadcast of the NASRA 360 Racing Network 200 live from the bluegrass state of Kentucky Speedway. 1.5 mile banked here. NASCAR may not return anymore, but tonight the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series takes to these relatively flat banked corners here at Kentucky Speedway. My name's Tyler Dittmer, joined in the booth as always with Will Tiller. Will, a different mile and a half this week. We're going to enter another mile and a half next week at Homestead, Miami. But right now, these drivers have a big challenge on their hands at Kentucky.
They really do. And as you mentioned it, Tyler, this is a newer track than what these drivers are used to. We went from New Hampshire last week, which is basically a supersized modified track with how wide those corners are. You're looking at the formation here tonight. You know, the straight, there is really no straights here at Kentucky. You have a little short straight on the backside. Other than that, it's a round circle all the way around this track. So that's going to give way to a lot of three wide racing, a lot of shooting that gap here tonight at Kentucky. I cannot wait for the start of tonight's race.
And these drivers certainly will have their hands full. We've seen a little bit in practice early on, corners 1 and 2, the drivers can take flat out, especially on new tires. But when it comes to corners 3 and 4, the drivers don't have that opportunity. And so these drivers definitely have a new challenge on their hands tonight, as we are going to take you guys an inside look at the virtual commentary booth tonight here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network. My good buddy Will Tiller, myself, Tyler Dimmer. First time you will be seeing our faces on any of these broadcasts in the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Something new that we're adding to the stream, hopefully to give you guys a more enriching broadcast. And Will, I got to say, it is nice to see your shining face tonight.
You get to see all my accoutrement in the background. You know, during COVID, they had all those things in the background. You see all the Hot Wheels, the racing cars, everything like that. So it's awesome to see you as well, Tyler.
Yes, and it's definitely just a new element that we are incorporating here at the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We have a few new camera angles we'd like to try out tonight as well to hopefully bring more to this broadcast, as we are forever learning, forever progressing, forever getting better to bring you all the best viewer experience possible. And for those of you who watch back these races afterwards, after competing in some of them, the best opportunity to see what it's like watching one of these events here tonight in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. But right now, we'd like to take you all live to the track to watch, I think, some qualifying action right now, as we're about to see a couple more drivers take to the track. Currently leading the way, though, on top of the board, Dan Hagan just completed his second qualifying lap with a 30.942. Currently the man to beat, but he's going to have some competition. Brady LaBeouf, fastest man in practice with a 30.693, is looking to get his qualifying laps done now. So we'll try and get you to Brady LaBeouf's qualifying laps here shortly. But Will, we mentioned earlier, we were talking with some of the drivers before the race started on how difficult this track is, and you have to spend a lot of time lifting in 3 and 4. You are not able to run this track flat out in that corner at all. How do you think that'll play into the racing here tonight?
I think we can almost use last week's race, New Hampshire, as a reference point. You know, that track like that, you have to let off on the corners, you have to hit your marks. We saw a lot of different things last week, Tarlo. We saw drivers take those corners differently. Some drivers let off way before on the some drivers brake in the middle of the corner. So here tonight, as you mentioned, you can't go all the way around this racetrack. You know, look at those guys that really performed well last week. You're looking at names as Nathan Maurer, who's now a two-time winner in this series. Brady LaBeouf led the most laps last week, and as you mentioned, he's the fastest in practice so far here tonight. Kerry Tribune is another name to watch out for. And those guys really can perform well in these corners that are a little bit more technical. And as you mentioned, you can't run them all the way through.
Yeah, right now, Brady LaBeouf is working on his second lap. We just saw, I want to say, Sean Hamilton's machine finish. He's currently slotted P6. Brady LaBeouf coming to the stripe this time. We'll see if he has anything for the pole, and he does. That's Brady LaBeouf taking provisional pole with a 30.920. Now riding on board, looking at Brandon Broadfoot in the 24 truck. Brandon Broadfoot's had, kind of an up and down season. Hasn't had exactly what he's wanted so far, Will. We've seen him kind of struggle at certain races, and definitely progress he wants to make, although he's currently sitting 12th in points, which is not a bad place to be. With how many new winners we've had so far this season, it's definitely a concern for him.
It really is. And I think for Brandon, you know, you just touched on it there. It's not the season so far that he's been wanting out of that 24 machine, but I think his name goes in the hat of a few drivers out here. You know, drivers that have a lot of skill, they have the experience here on iRacing, especially inside these trucks. it's just not gone their way so far. Whether it's bad luck towards the end of these races, whether it's just they don't start off strong, they get tagged up in a late race accident. There's a handful of these guys that I feel like if they can start to get that momentum going, start getting wins underneath their belt, then I think their seasons will turn around. And you could almost talk about Nathan Maurer in that aspect, Tyler. You know, before his win, it was sort of one of those drivers that was bouncing inside the top 15 in points, top 20. He got one win, and then he backed it up with another win last week. Now he's right inside the top 5 in the points. So really anything can happen as long as you get that first win out of the way.
And now we're looking at Jason Morales. It looks to be his second qualifying lap. First qualifying lap, nowhere near where he wanted it to be at 31.673. Is going to have him provisionally sitting in 17th. We're going to see if he can get himself up into the top 10 with this lap here. But so far, it has not been what Morales has wanted qualifying-wise. Really, the season hasn't been exactly what Jason's wanted. And that qualifying effort's still not going to be what he'll be happy with. He'll slot into 12th position with a 31.134. But as we talk about the points battle this year, we'd like to take a quick moment to look at those point standings, a new element we're also trying to incorporate in the stream tonight. Try to get those point standings up here for you folks here in a bit as some few more drivers make their way around the track. And we have a new pole sitter, and it is none other than our back-to-back winner, Nathan Maurer. As you see there, he's currently second in points in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series point standing.
Yeah, you look at that. Nathan Maurer now all of a sudden is one of the hottest drivers out here right now. 8 starts, 2 poles, 2 wins, 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and of course those back-to-back wins we just touched on. But look at Justin White, you know, guy, not a lot of wins, but consistent though, Tyler. 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s, currently on top of that table. What are some of the names that we're looking at on the screen right now that really stand out to you that you feel like could be one of those drivers at the end of this season that can really push for that championship?
I think the first name you have to look at is that driver in the number 9 spot, Kyle Hess. He has had an up and down season of all sorts. Hasn't found his way into victory lane just yet. Only 3 top 10s on the season, but he has run up front in several races so far and has just had either bad luck and been wrecked out, but he's been super competitive. He qualified in the top 5 last week at New Hampshire, ran top 5, top 10, and then kind of fell off a little bit towards the end. Ended up finishing still, I believe, inside the top 5 or top 10, but Kyle Hess has not had the season he's wanted so far, but he's still in that points hunt. Obviously, though, we're looking at these standings. We have a win and in playoff system here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. So although these points matter, it really only matters if you're the number 1 points getter because you get more playoff bonus points when we get to the playoff time, Will. But outside of Kyle Hess and obviously Nathan Maurer, who's been the big name the last few weeks, what other driver are you looking up and down this top 10 right now and think, man, this guy needs to get a couple of races together or he's going to have some big concerns?
Big concerns for me, and I'd say this with a grain of salt, let's say it with that way. Look at Kerry Tribune in that 7. Kerry's very strong right there in that 4th position on the points table. No wins, though, Tyler. You know, a driver that is in that handful of drivers that just gets tagged up, unfortunate events. You know, you look at his season stats so far, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, decent run so far. But if he doesn't keep it together and start getting those wins together, I could see his season starting to slip away a little bit. But other names, Raul Meza, Christopher Blanchard, right there in the mix, still inside the top 10. But without those wins, without those consecutive finishes in a row, that season could slip away from you quick.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the season carried to do. He was lightning fast. We saw in Speedweeks at Daytona, just an absolute competitor every step of the way. I believe he won one of the duels, if not maybe the clash. I remember, maybe my memory's misleading me, but he was dominant at Daytona, leading a lot of laps, controlling the field, and he has not had the same luck since. But it's now official. New pole sitter is going to be Justin White, just sneaking out over Nathan Maurer. So we're going to have to get Justin White in the booth to talk with us. We're going to bring you down trackside as these drivers hit the grid and get ready to start this NASRA 360 Racing Network 200 live from Kentucky Motor Speedway. But right now, we're going to quickly bring Justin White into the broadcast booth. Justin White sneaking the pole away there from Nathan Maurer, a good buddy of yours that you're racing with. And you talk with a lot in the Brute Force Motorsports chat. How'd you get it done?
Being loose and just letting it all hang out, you know, kind of loose as fast. So I said, I want to settle it all off down into 1 and 2. And if it gets loose, it gets loose on lap 1. And I did, and it stuck. And then 3 and 4, I knew that the quickest way to get there is around, get back to the throttle as quick as possible. And I did, and it stuck and didn't hit the wall. So we'll take the pole position. You know, that's not any points in the championship grand scheme of things. So right now we need to be collecting stage points. Being the points leader right here, we need to start collecting the points, putting them in the bank, and looking towards the playoffs.
And we talk about, how you're in the same team chat with Nathan Maurer, and how's that dynamic as you two have kind of run away with this points race, and considering how many playoff points are on the line for being the regular season champion, do you kind of maybe hide some things from him and not really give him all the secrets that you use to get yourself towards the front?
No. Me and Nate are real good buddies, so we share everything between each other. And especially if I share it to him and then just absolutely beat him straight up, that makes it all the bit more sweet. And then when he does it to me, it makes it bittersweet. So, because you want to see your teammate and your friends do well. So, but we definitely make each other faster. We push each other harder every single week. That's why we're toward.
Well, Justin, real quick before we let you go, what's kind of the differences in the corners? We see 1 and 2 is kind of a flat corner, but 3 and 4 is really difficult. You got to lift off the gas and get towards that bottom. What's the challenges you're facing here tonight?
The challenge is keeping the right front cool and keeping it underneath you. So you're going to want to take and be easy in 1 and 2, and then really, really easy in 3 and 4, and a lot of rear brake, a lot of trail braking going on. Keep all that rear or weight of the car on the right rear.
I appreciate you coming in and chatting with us again. Congrats on another pole here, Justin, and hopefully we'll be talking to you towards the end of the race.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys.
Again, that's your pole sitter, Justin White, talking about us beating out his buddy Nathan Maurer by 0.06 of a second. Will, I mean, it doesn't get much closer than that.
No, it really doesn't, Tyler. But what I've seen so far this season, it doesn't really matter where you start on that grid. It just matters where you finished at the end. I think the only driver we've seen so far that stayed up in the top of the grid has been Nathan Maurer so far this season. Other than that, a lot of these guys put in work throughout these races to increase their positions on the grid. So keep an eye out on that as well.
Yeah, so we're about to get going here soon. You look at the rest of your grid. Starting up tonight, we have, it looks like, 28 drivers taking the track to run this race. So it should be a very tight, competitive field. We're going to get going green here shortly, and we're going to try something new. Listen to these drivers work their way through the gears and around here on lap 1 as Justin White will lead the field here to green here on the NASRA 360 Broadcasting Racing Network 200, live from Kentucky. Justin White takes the green flag. Field is ready to go. We're racing here from Kentucky. We have trouble. We're going to erupt the NASRA 360 sounds of the race. Justin White goes around in front of the field from contact with Nathan Maurer. First caution flag of the night is out. Uncertain if Justin White got contact from others, as we see Tyler Daniels through the infield currently. Definitely something that we were not expecting to see up front early on, but a big incident there, and Justin White was just spun in front of the entire field. We'll have to go and see where it started up front. I believe Tyler Daniels caught a little bit at the end, but here we'll see what looks happen up front. Oh, no, it was not off Nathan Maurer. It was off of Brady LaBeouf.
Ooh. Man, Tyler, and that's what I spoke about, too, when we started this race off, how wide this track is. You can run 3 wide, 4 wide. You just have to know your positions on the racetrack. And for Justin there, he tried to come down on that inside lane, and Brady LaBeouf was already there in that 9. So I think that's just a little sample piece of what we're going to see here tonight. But fortunately for Justin White, though, it doesn't look like too much damage on that truck, and I foresee him being back in the mix here soon.
It'll be interesting to see how much damage Tyler Daniels experienced from that truck getting slightly airborne. I know I was in a race last week at Daytona, went through the infield grass, and my truck's engine expired, so starting to see how much damage Tyler Daniels has, but that's an unfortunate start for Justin White. Sits on the pole, doesn't even lead the first lap, Will, and that's going to hurt him in that bonus points that we're talking about in that points battle that's so huge with his rival/friend Nathan Maurer, who did get the point for leading that lap and has now led the first 3 laps here at Kentucky.
Yeah, you got to watch out for Nate here in this race. You know, he's one of the hottest drivers out here right now. Back-to-back wins so far in this series. Broke that streak, Tyler, of new winners every week here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. The back-to-back wins, and then the way he's racing here tonight, almost qualified on the pole. You spoke about how close that battle was. It's going to be hard to knock that 971 off the top of the grid here tonight, and it might take, foreseeing an accident or something like that, it might take a monstrous effort from one of these drivers to keep Nate out of the victory lane here tonight.
Yeah, we'll get a quick rundown of your top 10 after that incident. Nathan Maurer, your current leader. Brady LaBeouf, second. Brian Chu, third. Dan Hagan, fourth. Chris Blanchard, fifth. Steve Barnett, sixth. Seventh will be Robert Richards. Eighth will be Sean Hamilton. Kyle Hess sitting at ninth. And Charles Keller Jr. rounding out your top 10. Charles Keller Jr. needed a big points week last week. Didn't have exactly what he needed to get himself towards that top 16. I believe he's currently sitting at just inside. I mean, he is still inside the top 16, but he lost some ground and some drivers around him last week, Will.
Yeah, he definitely did. And we watched this race here tonight. I think we have a bigger field than what we've had the past couple of nights. I know some people wanted to watch their Georgia Bulldogs win the national championship a couple weeks ago. A couple people saw out last week as well. But here tonight at Kentucky, it looks like we have a pretty full field of drivers that are starting to get that momentum back. They want to get back in these trucks here, get their racing going here. Look at the field all the way down here, Tyler. It looks like we have a field of about 30 drivers here tonight.
Yeah, a much nicer, larger field than we had last week. And I'm sure drivers getting back into the swing of things after the new year. And actually, it's good time to look forward, as we still have, I believe, 2 more pace laps, at what's coming up in the coming weeks in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series schedule. If we can pull up that schedule as well. But next week, I kind of preluded to it earlier, Will. Homestead Miami Speedway, arguably one of the toughest mile and a halves on the circuit. Tons of options where you can run bottom, top, all of that. And then we'll take a week for an all-star race at Talladega, of all places.
Yeah, Talladega, the all-star race. That's going to be fun. Little 3-wide, 4-wide action on that. But then after that, Tyler, you look at that schedule before we get to the playoffs. You look at Indianapolis. Okay, so everybody knows Indy, the dimensions of Indy. Kansas, Worldwide Technology, and then Las Vegas is your last shot to make it into the playoffs. Boy, that's going to be a tough stretch, about 4 races right there if you're on that bubble to make the playoffs.
And they're 4 very different tracks. I would say the most similar there is Kansas and Las Vegas. Mile and a half, relatively similar, but Kansas a little bit more sweeping front straightaway, similar to what we have kind of at Kentucky. Vegas is a little bit more angled, a little bit tighter, and I'd say a little bit more higher banked than Kansas must be. But you put it perfectly. Indianapolis and Gateway are 2 very different types of tracks. Gateway especially, how flat it is. It's just over. It's like 1.3 miles, or maybe it's 1.5 miles, around that distance. And then Indianapolis, 4 corners. You have to race them 1 and 3 the same as you race 2 and 4. And a very challenging track. Low banking, hard in the trucks, but super fast down the straightaways. And staying in the draft is a huge deal at Indianapolis, unlike Gateway. So these drivers are going to have their hands full in the next 5 to 6 weeks, including that all-star race at Talladega, which will surely be an entertaining event.
It surely will, and I can't wait for that all-star break. And, this season's been going by pretty quickly, Tyler. I didn't even realize there were only 4 races from the playoffs here. And I wonder if some of these drivers know that fact as well here tonight. And as you mentioned, some of these drivers are starting to get back into the swing of things after the new year, all that good stuff. But for some of these drivers, we've touched on it a few times here tonight, the clock's ticking for them to start racking up those consistent finishes as we dig down to corner number 3 right now, still under caution after that first lap wrecked by White there. But tonight, I think we might have a surprise winner. I'm going to call it here now as we see this pace truck pull off. Watch out for somebody surprising to take that checkered flag.
Yeah, Nathan Maurer will lead your field here to the green flag, waiting to get to that Geico restart zone. Nathan Maurer getting the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series back underway here at Kentucky with a great jump. That's going to allow Brian Chu to the inside of Brady LaBeouf as they cross the stripe. Nathan Maurer will lead the field into 1 and 2. And, Will, you said it kind of perfectly. Someone's going to have to do something different, drastic, to get themselves a surprise win here. If you're in, 18th to 24th on points, and we reach a race where maybe fuel matters a lot, like tonight. There's a 75% cap on fuel in this race tonight. Drivers have 5 sets of tires, so tires aren't necessarily concerned, but fuel could have a fuel mileage race. You have to see drivers taking chances, especially if you're not comfortably inside the top 10 of the point standings.
Yeah, talking about taking chances. There goes Brady LaBeouf to the outside of Nathan Maurer right now as we dig down into the corner number 3. And Brady LaBeouf with a huge run around the corner, go all the way topside here off of 4. He's going to coast right by Nathan Maurer for the race lead. Brady LaBeouf, our new race leader, down in the corner.
And Nathan Maurer may drop another position here. Steve Barnett dives to the inside. They're going to be side by side through 3 and 4. Barnett's not going to get the exit he wants. Maurer should get a great exit. Interesting to see who Brady LaBeouf will go with. He goes to the bottom, I believe, for the time being, helping Barnett get more of a draft. Maurer around the outside 1 and 2. They're still side by side.
Yeah, right now Brady LaBeouf still clearing the way. Nathan Maurer, though, looks like he's struggling right now to find a lane on the racetrack. He's going to lose another position down to the 3rd spot. As we dig down to corner number 3, Nathan Maurer trying to hold on to his top 5.
Yeah, Brian Chu looking to take that position here. He's going to ride in a slide job. No, it's close. Nathan Mauer's going to try and power back through on the outside. But they got company behind in Robbie Richards, and I want to say that's the 39 machine of Dan Hagen. So Nathan Mauer's got to be careful, but Brian Chu fell back there pretty drastically. So Nathan Maurer will slot himself back into 3rd position behind the Brady LaBeouf machine, and I want to say Steve Barnett.
Yeah, as we head down the backstretch right now, we'll run 25 laps here in stage number 1. We'll then race it down to lap 55. That's 30 laps in between stage 1 and 2. Then we'll race it down to a total of 140. So that's 85 laps from lap 55 to 140 there, Tyler. How much of a difference does that make from a 30-lap shootout between stage 1 and 2? Essentially, it's 30 laps here in stage number 1. And then you have an 85-lap, essentially almost a new race there to the finish.
Yeah, correction. I believe we did edit the race distance a little bit. It'll be 135. That's not your fault. There's something wrong in our speaker's notes. But 135 laps, it's a big gap from that 55-lap cutoff point that you were talking about, Will. I mean, it's going to test these drivers. Obviously, they will not be able to make it on the fuel in the 3rd stage. There will be a pit stop. Whether it happens under green flag conditions or under caution is yet to be seen. But these guys are racing their way almost to the halfway point here in stage number 1 already. Top 6 is single file. Trying to look further through the back if there are any battles. Right now, the first battle is between 8th and 9th. That's Chris Blanchard and Charles Keller Jr.
Yeah, Charles Keller Jr. right there trying to keep that momentum going. He's starting to get things rolling just a little bit there. But all these drivers here, they need a win. Drivers that don't have wins on the season, you need to start racking them up. Blanchard, though, coming off a hot week in another series here. Ooh, a little bit of contact with Charles there in the 55. I think Chris here might be one of those surprising drivers that breaks through, gets that win underneath his belt, starts getting a little bit hot here in this series as we're almost 3 wide down to corner number 3.
Yeah, Chris Blanchard did not take kindly to that contact in 1 and 2. He had some choice words for Keller over the radio, it seemed like, but definitely no love lost between these two. They've been very tight, very close these last few laps, and they're still racing side by side for position at number 8 and 9. Behind them, you have Kyle Hess, Kerry Tribute, who we talked about earlier. And it looks like the 69 machine of, I want to say that is Tim Hammond, followed by Jason Morales and Brandon Broadfoot, rounding out a group of about 7 trucks now who are trying to battle and get inside that top 10.
Yeah, this is where you want to be right now here on lap 13. You want to be inside this top 10 as Tim Hammond goes to the middle right now. He's going to split both Hess, and I believe that's Kerry Tribute on the top side, and he'll get that position there, Tyler, as we dig down to corner number 1, lap 14.
What a great move there by Tim Hammond, part of Animal House Racing. No longer. HD Motorsports, Christopher Blanchard gets hit again by Charles Keller Jr. Blanchard loses all momentum. He's going to get swarmed by Jason Morales and everyone else behind. And poor Blanchard's going to drop through the field like a rock. Keller to the 8th position. Hammond up to 9th now. Kerry Tribute will round out your top 10. We got 3 wide throughout the field.
Yeah, for Tim Hammond, though, he started off the season very strong. Had to take a few races off in between. He's now fell out of the top 10 in points. He's one of those drivers that we've touched on here tonight that needs to start racking up some good finishes, even get a win in there somehow to make the playoffs here in less than 4 races. But here on lap 15, we're watching Chris Blanchard. He's trying to hold on to that spot. Back up to the leader, though. Nathan Maurer now has Robbie Richards right on his back bumper as we dig down to the corner.
Correction, your leader is Brady LaBeouf, and he has left everyone behind. Brady LaBeouf pulling away from Steve Barnett, Nathan Maurer, and Robbie Richards. But the big battle's raging on again around your team's position, 15th on back. Chris Blanchard's still about to lose more positions. It looks like Raul Meza now, the driver, going to make a move to his inside. Raul Meza's there, entering 1 and 2 as we caught up to this battle. Big pass, 3 wide through 1 and 2.
Yeah, as Blanchard's still trying to hold on to spots. Seems as though he's lost all that momentum. What I've seen so far here tonight, Tyler, this is a momentum track. If you can get the momentum going, you start getting those runs every corner. If you can get a run going, we saw that at Brady LaBeouf. You got a run going on there. Flew past Nathan Maurer, and ever since then, he has not looked back. He's just padding that lead at the top of the grid.
Yeah, Christopher Blanchard, something must be wrong with that truck. Looks like he is struggling to keep speed after a contact with Charles Keller Jr. multiple times. Now he's going to get passed by, I want to say, Jonathan Pugh in that 19 machine. Jonathan Pugh looked like he was shot out of a cannon. He's going to get a run on Cody Knott down the back straightaway. Looking, contact, we have a wreck on the back straightaway. Jonathan Pugh, Cody Knott, more drivers involved. Big wreck in 3 and 4.
Caution is out for the second time here tonight. Huge wreck on the backstretch here at Kentucky. Cody Knott's one of those drivers that are involved in that there, Tyler. And we're going to check out this replay here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Brings out our second caution of the night here. We'll check it out to see what exactly occurred there down the backstretch here. And, man, these cautions are starting to fly like crazy, Tyler.
Yeah, it all started with Jonathan Pugh getting a massive run on the back straightaway. If we can get the camera over towards him, he'll get a huge run on Cody Knott after getting by Chris Blanchard through 1 and 2. And there you go. We've already see they're in contact already. Here's a better view. Yep. So you'll see Jonathan Pugh gets a massive run here on Cody Knott, and not really sure what happens here after.
You see the 19 of Pugh. We'll have to take another look at that, Tyler, because it looked like the 19 was pretty clear there on the inside. I don't know if it was incidental contact. Maybe they just brushed up against one another there down the backstretch. Didn't look like anything too crazy to me.
This will be a really good view here.
Check it out, right?
Looks like a little bit of Netco, maybe a little bit of the two coming together. But look, there's a big chain reaction up ahead. Multiple drivers hard into the outside wall in 3 and 4. I want to say Brandon Bullock being one of them.
And that's tough. That's tough for the 19 of Pugh there. You think you're clear, think you're racing it all right, and all of a sudden iRacing kicks in and says, you guys are too close. The contact's made between him and Knott. And for Knott, I'm sure he's not going to be too happy about that contact from the 19. But from that replay there, Tyler, it looked like he may have cleared Cody Knott there on the outside.
Oh, multiple drivers hard into the wall. That's the 65 Curtis. Brandon Bullock in that 17 machine, I believe, also definitely involved a lot of damage there. Donnie Lyons, maybe a little bit of damage. Michael Allen with some damage as well. Just a lot of good trucks already. Christopher Blanchard's on pit road for repairs. Torrey Thompson's on pit road for repairs. Curtis Rogers on pit roads for repairs. So definitely an unfortunate end to some of these drivers' nights already. But we are on, I want to say, lap number 19. So we have just over 6 laps to go in the stage. Well, we're going to have essentially a little sprint to the finish by the time we get going green again. To end stage 1, Brady LaBeouf dominated most of stage 1 so far after he got by Nathan Maurer, I believe, on lap 6. Are you going to expect Brady LaBeouf to do more of the same here, or do you think maybe he hurt his tires a little too early?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting aspect to see here on this restart. If Brady can keep that momentum going that he had there when he got past Nathan Maurer, now he has other trucks in the mix. Will somebody else be able to pull off the same move he pulled on Nathan there? You know, you look at Barnett right there in the 42. You look at Nathan Maurer in the 971. Nathan now knows what Brady used on him there. Used that draft, swing to the low side, swing right past him there down the backstretch. Watch out for one of these drivers maybe pull that same move on Brady here on this restart.
The outside seemed to have a lot of momentum early on. That's how Brady made the move on Nathan Maurer. It'll be interesting to see if Steve Barnett has the ability to do so on the second lap. Because remember, the first lap, we thought Nathan Maurer was clear and gone of the field, but Brady LaBeouf was shot out of a cannon coming down the front straightaway after he gotten up to speed. Was able to make a massive pass on Nathan Maurer entering 1 and 2. So we'll have to see if it plays out the exact same way this time.
Yeah, we'll see right now here as we dig down to corner number 3. Pace lights are off of the pace truck here. And as Tyler touched on here, we'll have just a few laps left of stage number 1.
Yeah, it will be essentially a sprint to the finish. We're waiting to see if the lights go off the iRacing pace truck this time by. But at this point in time, maybe one more lap around this Kentucky Motor Speedway. So far, though, Will, I mean, the action's been good. Most of the racing has been pretty clean and respectful, despite Charles Keller Jr. and Christopher Blanchard. Maybe you have a budding rivalry growing between those two drivers. They were not happy at all with the contact between the two of them.
No, and there was a little bit of contact back and forth between those two drivers. Neither one of them spun out. Neither one of them crashed each other, so that's a good aspect of that right there. But You're right, though, Tyler. It's been pretty clean so far here tonight. I think that last caution may have been a bit of net code there, and there's a little bit of a chain reaction ahead of those drivers there. But other than that, it's been a pretty good sprint so far here from Kentucky. You know, we touched on what these drivers need to do if you're outside of that playoff point. If you don't have a win yet this season, you know, if you get a win, you're in essentially here in this series. But we look at these drivers at the top of this grid right now. Brady LaBeouf's in. Steve Barnett's having a great season right now. Nathan Maurer, that 971's up there. Robbie Richards has been very consistent so far this season as well. So it's the regular old drivers that are at the top of the grid so far here tonight, Tyler. But what I'm interested in seeing is those drivers that I always like to talk about, those drivers outside of the top 15, top 20, there's always going to be a few of them that catch up to the top of the grid right here. And I'm curious to see which driver will be that name here tonight.
Yeah, like you said, we haven't really had a ton of surprise contenders tonight. I would say our biggest surprise driver near the front of the grid tonight would be that of Dan Hagan. He is currently 33rd in points, but he's been running in the top 10 all night long so far. He seems to have found some speed, been more consistent. I mean, he hasn't run every race. He's only run 5 of the 8 races so far, so he's missed some time, but still, very competitive driver. He has, one top 10 on the season, so Brady LaBeouf takes us back to the green flag here at Kentucky. Dane Hagan may be a driver to watch out for as Brady LaBeouf gets a great jump on the field. We're back racing here with 4 laps to go in stage number 1.
Yeah, Brady's on a mission here tonight, using a little of that Bayou energy here and that LSU paint scheme, a little bit of purple, a little bit of that yellow on that race truck here tonight as we come off of corner number 2. Brady LaBeouf still leading the way with Nathan Maurer in second.
Steve Barnett caught napping on that restart, it seems. Nathan Maurer jumps up to second. Robbie Richards looking for third. Oh, they're really close here to 3 and 4. Super tight racing action for the final spot in the podium for the time being. But we're going to have 3 laps to go this time by in stage number 1. Can Nathan Maurer close the gap and steal the stage away from Brady LaBeouf?
Yeah, see if he can catch up there. Check out Dan Hagan right there. You just touched on it there, Tyler. Very low in that points table so far. Brady LaBeouf, though, still leading the way. Around the corner, Nathan Maurer, though, is closing that gap just a little bit. Will he have enough time here in stage number 1 as we head down the backstretch?
Still a great side-by-side battle for third between Robbie Richards and Steve Barnett. Robbie Richards gets really tight there in 3 and 4. Barnett looking to make the pass on the outside. He will be clear off of 4. Brady LaBeouf still managing that gap to about 4 truck lengths over Nathan Maurer right now for the lead. Pit lane has been closed with 2 to go in the stage. 2 to go in stage number 1. Pit lane no longer open. Brady LaBeouf now, that lead is 2.5 truck lengths as they're coming off the 2.
Yeah, as our top of the grid has now fanned out just a little bit. Brady LaBeouf will take us down to corner number 3. Nathan Maurer there, huge run down in the corner. See if he can carry that momentum out of 3 and 4. Right now, he is closing that gap, although Brady's going to make it a little bit more wide on the exit of the corner. Make it 1 lap to go here in stage number 1.
Brady LaBeouf still managing that gap pretty well. Nathan Maurer took kind of a shallow approach into 3 and 4. Couldn't get a run off the corner. He has a great approach, though, this time. Call it 1.25 truck lengths between the 2 as they're battling for this stage 1 win. But not enough of an exit there by Nathan Maurer. Still 1.25, maybe 1 truck length now as we enter 3 and 4 for the final time in stage number 1. Brady LaBeouf drops to the bottom. Nathan Maurer goes to the high side. Maurer's going to try and get a big run off of 4. Will he be able to close the gap in time? Call it half a truck length gap. But Nathan Maurer will not get there. Brady LaBeouf wins stage number 1.
Ooh, and what? That was very close there at the line there, Teller. I think 1 more lap here at Kentucky. Nathan Maurer would have caught him there in stage number 1. So interesting to see here if this will carry on to stage number 2, the battle between these 2 trucks. This has been the battle in stage 1. Brady LaBeouf, you talked about it, went flying by Nathan Maurer. Nathan Maurer, though, may have found something there at the end of stage number 1.
We'll quickly do our rundown of the top 10 in the stage, and then we'll cut to a quick commercial break. Brady LaBeouf, stage 1 winner. Nathan Maurer finishes 2nd. 3rd goes to Steve Barnett. Robbie Richards finishes 4th. Dan Hagan will round out your top 5 in stage 1, followed by Sean Hamilton, Brian Chu, Tim Hammond, Terry Tribute, and Justin White, after getting spun on lap 1, comes back and finishes in top 10 and gets a stage point here at stage number 1. We'll cut to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll talk with your stage 1 winner, Brady LaBeouf. We're back live from the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series from Kentucky Motor Speedway, and you're joined now by our Stage 1 winner, Brady LaBeouf. Brady, you took that lead away on that one restart from Nathan Maurer and held him off in that final restart, but he was closing in those closing moments of that stage. What do you have to do to hold off here and win this second stage?
I don't know. I know Nathan kind of let me go in that restart, kind of like what he did last week, and he's just back there saving, maintaining, and he had the better tires for sure there at the end. I think if he would have pulled the move off that he did a lap before, he might have passed me, or we definitely would have been a lot closer than what we were. So it's definitely one to watch again. He's going for the three-peat.
Well, you saw that he moved to that high lane and closed significantly there at the end of the stage. Are you going to look at that high lane to maybe make a pass late in the run here later on?
Yeah, most definitely. I can't. It's been over a year since I ran here, and I know people were moving up towards that high lane. I might even let Nathan go right here so I can kind of see what he's trying to do or how he's making it work so I can kind of learn something for the end of the race.
Well, it looks like we have a little bit of a strategy play by the three drivers in front of you, Brandon Broadfoot, Christopher Blanchard, and Tim Hammond, all electing to stay out under that caution. They'll be your race leaders. How do you kind of manage these guys with older tires in front of you here on this restart?
You just got to be patient. I know, the racer in you wants to get around them as fast as you can so you can put those trucks in between you and people like, Nathan. I know Robbie Richards was pretty fast there towards the end of that stage. He was catching me. I seen on a relative that I was looking at. So you just got to kind of be patient. Look, we're running, we won a stage. We're running up front the whole entire race. I apologize for getting to my teammate there earlier. I know he lost it and I was trying to stay off of him, but I feel bad for him, but he's still in it. But yeah, you just got to be patient, Tyler.
Yeah, well, we'll let you get back to your team as you prep for this restart here. Just wishing you good luck, and maybe we'll be talking to you later on.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
That was your Stage 1 winner, Brady LaBeouf, and we're going to do a quick run through the top 10 of the field right before we go green. New leader up front, that's Brandon Broadfoot. Christopher Blanchard will be on the outside of row number 1 after some earlier issues. Tim Hammond will restart 3rd. Brady LaBeouf on the outside in 4th. Nathan Maurer restarting 5th. Robbie Richards starting up there in 6th. Got it by Steve Barnett on pit road, who will restart 7th. Dan Hagan, who was 5th in stage number 1, dropping back to 8th after pit cycles. Brian Chu will restart 9th. And Justin White, our pole sitter, spun on lap 1, finished 10th in stage 1, will restart 10th ahead of a few more drivers throughout the field. Currently, only one driver out of the race so far. That's Curtis Rogers. He will be 12 laps down. Only one other driver not on the lead lap. That is Cody Knott, who is 4 laps down.
Yeah, looking at that grid right there, it's a little bit of a mix-up of drivers now at the top of the grid so far right now. And for White, you spoke about it there, finished that stage in 10th, going to restart 10th. But if you think about it, crashed on the very first lap as our leader, now back inside the top 10. So great movement out of Justin White.
So we get back rolling here. Brandon Broadfoot will lead the field to green, waiting for the Geico restart zone. He's going to get there. We are green flag racing again on NASRA 360 Broadcasting Network 200 from Kentucky Motor Speedway.
Yes, Broadfoot's going to take us down to corner number 1. Still pretty clean so far in that 24 truck here on the apex of 1 and 2. Bunched up, though, inside the top 5 as we come off of 2, heading down the backstretch.
During the commercial break, we were talking about drivers who may need to win or are on that bubble cut line. One of those drivers, Tim Hammond, there trying to get up to 2nd. He is currently on the outside looking in by 4 points. Due to 2 drivers with wins being 16th or worse in the standings. Hammond 17th, meaning he's on the outside looking in. He's going to make up 4 points on the driver in 15th in points, but he's going to lose a lot in the field. Gets a shot from Robbie Richards there in 1 and 2.
Yeah, big wiggle out of the 69 right there. Was already wiggling there on the exit of 4. Crossed the start-finish line. We were 3 wide there. Robbie Richards tried to get back in the line. Made contact with the 69. We were bunched up. Looks like rush hour traffic digging down into corner number 3.
Can't tell if we're at Daytona, Talladega, or if we're at Kentucky Motor Speedway. This is a pack rolling through 3 and 4. A big battle here. These are for positions 5 through 6. Meanwhile, out front, the leaders have kind of pulled away from the field. Christopher Blanchard, Nathan Maurer, and all those guys. Brady LaBeouf and Brandon Broadfoot way out in front of Brady LaBeouf at the time.
Yeah, we're 3 wide right here. It looks like this is Chu, White, and Hammond right here in this middle. White's going to shoot the gap, though. He is large and charging in that 28 machine. He'll come out of that pack right there in that position, that 28. He is trying to get back to the top of the grid.
Hammond's old tires are really starting to show. He is falling and falling hard. Once he lost that clean air, he has struggled to maintain position. He'll fall well outside of the top 10 now, probably outside of the top 15. Meanwhile, Justin White continues his march forward. He was 7th that time by. Make it 6s get by Christopher Blanchard on the inside relatively easily. Christopher Blanchard's going to fall through the field now.
Yeah, very clean, although very bunched up right here in this race. Watch Blanchard's losing positions on the racetrack. You see Morales right there in that 5 machine. You see the 89 of Hamilton's right there as well. Hamilton's going to go to the inside of Blanchard. Off of 4 right now. Blanchard's trying everything he can just to hold on to any position on the racetrack here. Make it lap 35 down to corner number 1.
Meanwhile, Tyler Thurman and Dan Hagan battling for 7th, getting position with Thurman for the time being, getting by Hagan. Hagan needs a big run, like we've been saying. Probably needs a win to make the playoffs at this point in time due to all the races he's missed. But, and I say but, if he runs well enough and consistently enough and piles up bonus points from stages, he may be able to sneak in on points, considering how far back the field is when you look at the top 10 versus the rest of the field on points.
Yeah, this is very tight so far this season. We have that all-star break, and then it's thinking time for a lot of these drivers. We have 4 races until that playoff cut line. And Tyler, what I heard this week leading up to this race here tonight, the prize pool is now over $1,000 for these drivers. So a lot on the line heading into these playoff races.
And that's just one of the great things here about in the NASRA community and the NASRA series that we run is we have some big prize pools, especially for the season-long titles. Hundreds of bucks. That can buy you a new wheel. That can buy you a new set of pedals. That can buy you that new the seat motion sensor that's coming out, the HF8. So a lot of different things. Or it can buy you a brand new butt kicker, one of our big sponsors here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series.
It surely can. I can think of a lot of ways to use that money if you take home the championship. But although every race, the winner gets at least $60. So if you think about it, Tyler, you start racking up some wins, you'll start racking up some cash in your pocket. But we're watching Brady LaBeouf cross the line right now here on lap 38. He is trying to chase down our leader, which is Brandon Bradfoot, down to corner number 1. That 24 machine is holding on here in stage number 2.
And what we're learning is clean air is huge. You can have older tires, but if you're in front, you can control the dirty air, keep that driver from behind you from having the max amount of grip that they need to make the corner. You can essentially hold on relatively well. I think we're going to see Brady LaBeouf migrate to that top lane that he saw Nathan Miller do and almost pull off to win stage number 1 on him. Brady LaBeouf did that this time by. He's closing that gap hard on Broadfoot down in the front straightaway.
Yeah, Brady LaBeouf to the outside here on corner number 1. See if he has enough momentum to make this move here. Nathan Maurer to the inside right there. You see Steve Barnett in the 42 now side by side with Nathan Maurer. Barnett's on the top side. As we come off with 2, it's getting very tight at the top of the grid.
Brady LaBeouf has made the pass for the lead. Give Brady LaBeouf the lead entering 3 and 4. He's going to try and jump down in front of Broadfoot. Can't get to the apex, but I don't think he wants to be on the apex. He's going to get a better run off corner exit. Makes Steve Barnett sliding up into second ahead of Broadfoot. Nathan Maurer looking to get by Broadfoot now. I think you'll see Broadfoot struggle now that he no longer has clean air, especially on those old tires.
Yeah, Brady LaBeouf now our race leader here in 1 and 2. Barnett's right there in that 42 machine as well. We have just about 16 laps to go here in stage number 2. This is exactly where some of these drivers want to be, right inside the top 10. But you see this line, Tyler, is essentially a straight line all the way down to 3. Brandon Bradfoot's the only car on that inside lane. They're going to get left out as everybody's going to go high side around him. Coming off of 4. Right, make it lap 41 as we head down into 1.
And they need to do that. They need to get by this slower car on the bottom as quickly as possible. They are faster. They have fresher tires. They need to use it to their advantage while they still can make that now. It looks like Dan Hagan will get around them in 1 and 2. The battle for the lead, though, is heating up. Steve Barnett is within 3 truck lengths of Brady LaBeouf.
Yeah, see Brady LaBeouf trying to hold off that 42 down in the corner right now. The 42, though, has a run. He's starting to feel that draft pull him in right here as we come off of. See if he has anything here as we count down the laps here in stage number 2. Make it lap 42 down to corner number 1. Brady LaBeouf still leading the way.
Steve Barnett, though, probably the closest he's been so far. Call it a truck and a half space between the two of them. I think Steve Barnett's got to try something different in 1 and 2. Maybe go to the high side, get some clean air on that nose, and just have a big run down the back straightaway. But he's going to lose some ground here on the back straightaway this time by trying to go below Brady LaBeouf's weight.
Yeah, and you look at the rest of the grid coming by here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. This is it from the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. This is Kentucky here. We're coming off Nathan Maurer winning 2 races in a row. Currently, he is in the 3rd position of this field here in stage number 2. But we watched Barnett in that 42 truck trying to reel in Brady LaBeouf, our race leader, off of 4.
All those drivers who stayed out, Chris Blanchard, Tim Hammond, and the 24 Brandon Broadfoot have now all fallen outside of the top 10. Brandon Broadfoot now in 11th. He's going to keep getting rolled. Christopher Blanchard's fallen all the way outside of the top 20. Tim Hammond not much far ahead of him. He's only in 19th. So that staying out strategy maybe did not work as well as they thought it would, but it did save them most likely a set of tires for later on in this race. How much those tires matter yet to be seen. As we all know, every driver will have to make a stop in stage number 3 for fuel.
Yeah, that last bit of racing that we're going to have towards the end, we're looking at around 80 laps to close out this race here tonight. So essentially a whole different race there at the end. But right now what we're seeing is Brady LaBeouf is very comfortable in this clean air. Steve Barnett's trying to climb up there to the top of the grid. Nathan Maurer's been a top truck all night long as well. Making a lap 46 as we dig down to corner number 1.
Stop me if you heard this before. Justin White moving forward again. He's now inside the top 5. He's brought Tyler Thurman with him. Tyler Thurman to the 6th position. Dan Hagan to 7th now. Climbing up through the grid. Brian Chu 8th. Sean Hamilton 9th. Rounding out your top 10. Kerry Tribune. We talked about Kerry Tribune a lot this season. Really dominant showing at Daytona. Hasn't really had the same performance out of the truck since then. We thought he may have something at New Hampshire. Kind of fell off late in the race. So we'll have to see if Tribune has anything late in the race tonight, Will.
Yeah, one of those drivers is going to slowly but surely creep through the grid. Now, whether or not he can get the job done, that is yet to be seen, but very strong inside that truck. Another driver that's very strong is Raul Meza in that 37. Thought he was going to break through last week, just couldn't get the job done at the line. I believe he finished inside the top 5 last week at New Hampshire, so watch his run here tonight. Already has some racing stripes on the inside of that car.
I believe he was involved in that big wreck the Putty Knot and Lawrence Pugh were involved in, so he is not having the night he's wanted. He's currently 11th, just behind Kerry Tribune. I don't think he'll have the speed to compete for a win tonight with that damage on that truck.
No, but he can still scrap out maybe a top 10, top 5 if he's lucky here on this long run. But you see him, though, Tyler. Going to ride on board with that 37 Raul Meza. He's fighting that thing a little bit. You see how hard he's on that wheel.
He is not receiving any draft help from those top 10 drivers ahead of him. He's just outside of the wake of that 7 of Kerry Tribune. Brady LaBeouf opening up a little bit of a gap on Steve Barnett. Steve Barnett's going to have to get a move on, though. Nathan Maurer is closing as we're riding on board with Steve Barnett looking at the back of Brady LaBeouf's machine.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you here, Tyler, as we go around 1 and 2 right now, we're going to ride on board here. You know, how discouraging is it to see that you get a run there, you feel that draft coming off of Brady in that 9 machine, then all of a sudden you come off the corner and Brady just separates from you. Does that get discouraging at all, or is it a motivation to start closing those gaps a little bit more?
I think it can be a little bit of both. It's a motivation definitely to close the gap, but it can be discouraging, especially when you feel like you're giving your all lap after lap, and then you start to overdrive the corner, wear that right front that Justin White said in the pre-race. Got to keep that tire underneath you. Don't wear it out too much. And Steve Barnett's got to be careful here. He's not overdoing that right front because Nathan Maurer is all over the back of Steve Barnett looking for that second position. Maurer to the inside here.
Very, very tight here on the corner. Nathan Maurer to the inside of Steve Barnett in the 42. Looks like Steve's going to have a run, though, off of the corner number 4 right now. He's going to throw that tail right in front of Nathan Maurer and close the door as we head down to corner number 1.
I'm Nathan Maurer. I saw the outside worked well for me to catch up to Brady LaBeouf at the end of stage 1. I'm going to try to go to the outside here. We have just 6 laps to go here in stage number 2, end of lap 55. But now the battle for 4th is also heating up. Justin White all over the back of Robbie Richards.
And Justin White must have heard us on that pre-race broadcast talking about how he was on top of the points table without really showing out too much this season. He said, all right, boys, I'll take those words and I'll work them into my race here tonight. If we watched him here tonight, started on the pole, Tyler unfortunately had that bad start, had to go all the way to the tail end after spinning out. No damage on the tech. We have contact with contact between the 42 and Nathan Maurer right there. It's still clean so far. It's just going to kill the momentum of the 42. Right now, things are getting heated down the corner number 3.
Steve Barnett did not appreciate that at all. He had some choice words for Nathan Maurer on the radio. incident. They kept it straight. I thought Robbie Richards may have a chance at Nathan Maurer, but he went to the inside, could not clear in 3 and 4. And now Nathan Maurer is going to clear out ahead. Barnett drops to 5th, slot up White and Richards into 3rd and 4th, but Brady LaBeouf, it's a bit of a gap now. He might be able to just coast his way to victory in stage number 2.
Yeah, Brady LaBeouf is just cruising around here. A little Cajun sensation here in that 9 machines, closing the door on everybody. Nathan Maurer's trying everything he can. He's very low on the racetrack now. Justin White's very low as well. He's going to go to the inside of Robbie Richards here on the 48. Not going to have enough, though, as we head down the backstretch right now. See if he wants to try this. The front stretch, excuse me. As we dig down to corner number 1, we have just about 3 laps to go here in stage number 2.
Nathan Maurer did close 2/10 on that last lap on Brady LaBeouf. Went from 0.76 back to 0.54 back, so a little bit over 2/10. Does he have enough speed to get to the back of that number 9 machine and again try and compete for the stage 2 win? Or is it going to be same old, same old? Is he not going to have enough time to get there, Will?
Yeah, I think it might be Brady's stage win here. We see Nathan Maurer here. We've watched in the past, I would say 10 or 12 laps, just consistently hitting the same lines on these corners. He's getting close to Brady sometimes. Starting to feel that draft pull him in, but it's just not enough here. We watch it right here on this corner. This is about the smallest the gap gets here on the apex of the corners. And then once Brady exits the corner, it's almost like he hits those Hot Wheel rockets or something like that, because he flies right out of the exit of the corner. You'll see it right here. Although Nathan Maurer looks like he might have a bit of a run building up here, Tyler, on the apex of 3 and 4. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though, on the exits that Brady has here. It just looks like he's a lot more faster on the exit of these corners.
It's the last lap of stage number 2. They have one more time around. Maurer, same gap he had last time in stage number 1. He's going to have a chance at it. Brady LaBeouf misses the apex there in 1 and 2 where he wanted it to be, but Maurer gets tight underneath him. He's going to slide up the racetrack off of 2.
Yeah, I see right here, Brady LaBeouf down the backstretch right here, trying to hold off Nathan Maurer in the 971. As we dig down to corner number 3, Brady LaBeouf's going to go to the inside. Same thing with Nathan Maurer in the 971. Going to throw that tail in front of Nathan Maurer, see if he has enough as we exit corner number 4 to the front stretch.
Maurer tried the bottom that time. It is not going to work. Brady LaBeouf takes the air off his nose, and Brady LaBeouf wins stage number 2 again here at Kentucky.
Oh, man. Ooh, man, things are heating up here tonight. Tyler, we've had some choice words across the radio. We've had Brady LaBeouf win both stages. Ooh, man, things are getting heated here in the Bluegrass State.
Yeah, and again, Brady LaBeouf pulls off the stage win. We'll go quickly through your top 10 stage points getters. We'll quickly go to a commercial break. When we get back, we'll talk again with Mr. Brady LaBeouf, winner of stage number 2 here at Kentucky. But your top 10 for stage number 2, Brady LaBeouf wins the stage again over Nathan Maurer, finishes 2nd. Robbie Richards will slot in 3rd this time. Justin White climbs up to 4th. Steve Barnett finishes that stage in 5th. Tyler Thurman 6th. Brian Shue 7th. Dan Hagan 8th again in the stage. Sean Hamilton 9th. And Kerry Tribune will round out your points getters here in stage number 2. We'll send it to commercial break and we'll be Well, we talk again with Mr. Brady LaBeouf winning stage number 2 here at Kentucky Motor Speedway. Brady, you found a way to hold off Nathan Maurer yet again in a very tight battle to end the stage. What are your concerns here entering stage 3? Is it about pitch strategy, or is it just about how you're going to be able to defend against Nathan?
Yeah, Nathan, man, I'm trying to figure out what he's exactly doing to where he could save tires. I mean, I felt like we was only I know he was less than a second behind me when we passed Broadfoot right there, and I thought I was gonna be able to see what he was doing, but no, he's just doing a great job of saving tires, and I had 14 seconds of optional repairs that I took right there for some damage that I got into the wall going into 1, so I'm gonna be back here in like 13th, 14th, so I have some work to do, but I'll try to get back up there.
And we're going to see how well your truck performs in dirty air. But we kind of saw that the drivers who stayed out the last time pretty quickly, once they were passed, fell through the pack. Very difficult. Obviously, Brandon was able to stay out a little bit longer because he had the clean air. How much does clean air play a factor, and can you kind of get away with having older tires because of it?
Yeah, I think it's going to play a role. I know I think we still got like 2 sets of tires left, so a late caution might come out. That might play a factor, strategy, whatnot. So we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out here at the end.
Well, that's 2 stage wins for you tonight. That's 2 playoff points, and that's 20 overall points to get you back towards the battle for the regular season title. Obviously, you're looking for a race win, though, at the end of it. And we'll wish you the best of luck the rest of the way, Brady, and hopefully we'll be talking to you after the race.
Yep, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, good sir. Will, I mean, we haven't yet gone green. We still, I think, have another pace lap. What are you looking for in this final stage as we're about to get going again, as we get another look inside the NASRA 360 broadcasting booth?
Yeah, what I'm looking for this stage, Tyler, we're going to have about 80 laps to go. Looking for those movers. We saw them a little bit there at the end of stage number 2. Guys start to slowly but surely creep inside that top 10. So with Justin White, he had started on the top of the grid, moved all the way inside the top 10, and then he finished that stage inside the top 5. So watch out for some of these names that we haven't called out a lot here to start making moves here in these last 80 laps or so.
Well, there's definitely been a big shakeup at the front. Nathan Maurer is your new race leader. Robbie Richards second, Steve Barnett third, but Brady LaBeouf and Justin White are both well outside the top 10. Brady LaBeouf sitting in 13th, and Justin White sitting almost all the way down there in 20th, both looking to opt for damage repair, I would assume. There's some new names, though, in the top 10. Sean Hamilton's up there. Tyler Thurman's further up there. Dan Hagan's been there all night so far. A good showing for him. Kyle Hess, we haven't talked about much. I mentioned him at the beginning of the broadcast, needing to have a good night tonight because he's been moving his way forward. He's now back inside the top 10. He's got some work to do, as we're about to go green again here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network. 200 live from Kentucky. Well, should be a fun one, but we're going to go let you listen to the sounds of the race on this restart. Once we get him going to green, Nathan Maurer will lead the field to start stage number 3. Robbie Richards to his outside, Steve Barnett, Brian Chu. Row 2, make that Sean Hamilton, Tyler Thurman in row number 3. Nathan Maurer looking for the Geico restart zone and get us underway in stage number 3 here in the NASRA Broadcasting Racing Network, 200 from Kentucky. We rejoin the battle with the lead. Nathan Maurer getting passed on the outside by Steve Barnett through 3 and 4. Nathan Maurer looked like he may pull away on that restart. Will did not happen. He's going to drop to second. He's going to be under pressure from Robbie Richards.
No, whole new race. I touched on it to start this broadcast. Tyler, with 80 laps to go here, it's somebody hit the restart button for this race. We're going to see all sorts of different things, including a new race leader on the racetrack. That's Steve Barnett in that 42 lead the way. But here comes Robbie Richards in that 48. He's trying to climb to the top of the grid. We have Hamilton in the mix in that 89, and Tyler Thurman in that one truck up there as well.
Ryan Chu scraped the wall off of 2. He's going to lose multiple spots. Brady LaBeouf about to take it 3 wide between Chris Blanchard and Brandon Broadfoot. Coming through the tri-oval as we see a great battle there as Brady LaBeouf tries to make his way through the field.
Yeah, he's shooting the gap right now. It's getting very tight onto corner number 1 right there. He just shoots out of there like a cannon. He is a man on a mission. Coming out for 2. Down the backstretch, Brady LaBeouf is now creeping up to the grid once again.
Brady LaBeouf now going to try and hunt down Brian Chu, next driver on his radar. Brady LaBeouf slipping into the 10th position for the time being. Out front, though, Steve Barnett still leads the way.
Steve Barnett still leading the way right now. You see some shaking up going on in the grid right there, though. Blanchard's trying to hold position. Robbie Richards keeps trying to inch that nose to the inside of the 971. Tyler, that 971 has been smack dab on that yellow line the entire race here tonight. That's going to be very difficult to pass Nathan Maurer on the inside as we dig down to 3.
We've seen Nathan Maurer really only ever get passed on the outside. Brady LaBeouf did it earlier on in the race, but since then, though, he's been on the bottom, and he has been a tough driver to pass. Brady LaBeouf, though, now catching a big pack of trucks ahead of him, including Brian Chu, Kyle Hunt, Dan Hagan, Sean Hamilton, and Jason Morales. So Brady LaBeouf's going to have to work through some pretty heavy traffic here to get himself back up towards the top 5.
Yeah, I know Jason Morales rocked that Miami Dolphins paint scheme last week at New Hampshire. They came very close to defeating the Buffalo Bills in what would have been one of the largest upsets in playoff history. Maybe we'll see a little bit of that Dolphin magic here tonight out of that 5 machine. Jason Morales is slowly but surely creeping up to the grid as well in that 5.
Yeah, did not have the qualifying effort he wanted. We talked about that in the pre-race. Started outside the top 10. He's worked his way inside the top 10. Brady LaBeouf going to the high side now, trying to make moves on someone. And it's going to be Brian Chu, hopefully to be his first victim. Going to get a pull off of Kyle Hess right in front of him. But meanwhile, Brady LaBeouf kind of has stalled out on his march forward here into the 9th to 10th position.
Yeah, running into some heavy traffic right there as Brian Chu, Brandon Broadfoot's behind him in that 24. Hess is to the inside. Jason Morales is right in front of him. So very difficult drivers to get by right here. It's not going to be an easy task for that 9 to get back up to the top of the grid. But watch out here. We got a long way to go to close this thing out. Hamilton's leading this pack of drivers right here in this mix. You look right in front of Brandon Bradfoot right there, or Hamilton in the 89. You have 971. Of Maurer, you have Morales right there. As we dig down into 3, they have now caught Barnett in that 42.
The Animal House Racing entry of Tyler Thurman now slots up into 3rd, gets by Robbie Richards, and things are starting to shake out, get a little bit more organized. That's going to make it easier for Brady LaBeouf and Justin White to move through the field. Dan Hagan and Jason Morales almost come close to contact there. Would have been disastrous right in front of Brady. That is something he definitely does not want to see. He wants to see these guys get single file so he can pick them off one by one.
Yeah, definitely as we head down the backstretch right now for both of these drivers, Morales in the 5 and Dane Hagan in that 39 machine, they both need solid runs here tonight. So to see both of them wreck each other out, whether it's on accident or maybe not, it's hard to see both these drivers who've been very strong here. We just spoke about how Jason Morales has worked his way up to the grid after a bad qualifying spot. We look at Dan Hagan, though, has been consistently inside the top 10. So to throw it all away here with less than looking at around 60 to 70 laps to go here in this race would be a huge mistake.
66 to go to be exact for the time being. Dan Hagan gets by Morales. They get single file. Looked like maybe Brandon Broadfoot would try and move on Brady LaBeouf. It did not pan out. You got Tim Hammond there behind him trying to make a move now on Broadfoot to get further up inside the top 10. Brady LaBeouf sitting currently in 8th. He is trying to make his way around these drivers, but he is stalled out. Meanwhile, the battle for 3rd rages on. You had Tyler Thurman getting past to the inside by, it looks like Robbie Richards trying to reclaim that spot. And that battle is going to allow Nathan Maurer to pull away and try and chase down Steve Barnett, who's out front.
Yeah, Robbie Richards trying to use that momentum and getting around Tyler Thurman in that 1. See if he can latch onto the draft coming off the 971 and Nathan Maurer as we come off of 4. This is a tight battle for the 3rd position here as we cross the line, digging down to corner number 1.
Make it 2 wide, battling for 3rd. That's going to allow Sean Hamilton to slide up into the mix. And Dan Hagan will be able to close the gap as well as Brady LaBeouf finally gets by Jason Morales for the 7th position. So the battle for 2nd through really 6th is raging on as they both pulled in on Nathan Maurer. Meanwhile, Steve Barnett pulls away from the field.
Yeah, right now as Nathan Maurer goes to the inside once again here on the corner. That's going to shut the door on the 48. Robbie Richards, he's going to ease up the track a little bit. He's going to find Tyler Thurman on that top side, so can't go all the way high on the racetrack as we cross the line into corner number 1 right now. Tyler Thurman is going to creep up into 4th right now. This is a tight battle for the top 5 positions right now. Tyler Thurman now going to try to make his way up to the 971. Nathan Maurer put some pressure on him as we head down the backstretch.
Yeah, they're going to get single file. Only side-by-side moment right now is Dan Hagan to the inside of Sean Hamilton. They're going to go 3 wide, split Robbie Richards 3 ways. But now they're going to get back into a little bit of a single file mess as Richards will clear both of those drivers well into the front straightaway. Hagan to the bottom of the track below the yellow line. That's perfectly legal here at Kentucky. Only place you can't do that is Talladega, Daytona, and Atlanta. So these drivers competing very hard as Tyler Thurman goes to the outside of Nathan Maurer, potentially for second place, but they're going charging hard on Steve Barnett. Maurer looking to the inside of Barnett for the lead in 3 and 4.
This is a battle for the lead right here in the apex at 3 and 4. Nathan Maurer to the inside where he's been all night long. He's going to force Steve Barnett up the track here on the apex. Nathan Maurer, Steve Barnett side by side to the line right now. A battle for the lead, but here comes Tyler Thurman in the middle of them. Oh my goodness, we're almost 3 wide for the lead. We're still side by side around 1 and 2.
Steve Barnett needs to be able to carry the momentum off the corner here on 2. Otherwise, Nathan Mauer's going to try and side draft and pull him back as they enter 3 and 4. Not a great exit for Barnett. Not able to get clear of Maurer entering 3 and 4. He's going to shoot way wide. Maurer to the bottom. Going to try and clear him off of 4.
Yeah, see Nathan Maurer trying to inch that nose just ahead of that 42. As we come off of 4, Tyler Thurman keeps thinking about going 3 wide. He's going to stay right behind Nathan Maurer on the 971. As we dig down into corner number 1, this battle still rages on for the lead.
Maurer and Thurman drop to the bottom. Barnett stays high. Gets back to the outside of the 971 machine. Gets a good run this time. He'll track down Maurer entering 3 and 4, but Maurer will have the inside and get a good run in 3 and 4. But Barnett pinches him. He'll actually keep it really close to the middle of the corner, and Barnett should have a good exit off of 4.
Yeah, still side by side as we drag race down the front stretch here at Kentucky. This is a battle for the lead. Steve Barnett in the 42, Nathan Maurer in the 971. Nathan Maurer has rode that inside track the entire race, and it's making it extremely difficult for Steve Barnett to hold on that position as we're now single file down the front stretch as Nathan Maurer is our race leader.
Maurer clears him by just completely sending it in there in 1 and 2 that time by Barnett. Lifted to get out of that mess. Maurer has the lead. He has the control. It's going to be really difficult for Barnett to get to the outside of him now and try and race him throughout the rest of this race. But now the top 5, all single files. You look through the rest of the field. Sean Hamilton sitting there in 4th, or I believe 5th, correction. Brady LaBeouf now up to 6th. Justin White, meanwhile, restarted this, started stage 3 in 20th. He's moved his way up to 11th.
And if you look down the grid a little bit further, there's some surprising names that are now totally out of the mix. You look at Kerry Tribune down in about the 20th position. You look at some other names, Pugh's down there as well. Some of these names that were up in the top of the grid here the first couple of stages now have totally faltered all the way down. That Raul Meza in that 37 has lost a lot of speed. You touched on that there, Tyler, because the damage on that machine. But some of these names that were calling out their names in those first couple of stages have now dropped out way out of contention this race.
Yeah, Kerry Tribune has significant damage, it looks like, to the rear of his truck. Definitely losing a lot of downforce. You see that rear is kind of jacked up on the left side, so he's definitely made contact with another driver, and that is going to hurt the performance significantly. He's down in 20th, like you said. Raul is sitting just ahead of him in 19th. And then you look at other drivers who we expected big things from tonight. Christopher Blanchard's in 15th. We talked about him struggling earlier on the race. Ahead of him, Brian Chu was running top 10 most of stage 1 and 2. We'll get that 51 machine right now. He's sitting currently in 13th. He's fallen outside the top 10. So a lot of drivers really struggling here in stage 3, which is the long one, and we knew that was going to present a big challenge for these guys.
Yeah, with about 46 laps to go, Tyler. And we're looking at this last chunk of racing here at Kentucky. When do you see those green flag pit stops taking place?
I'm not entirely sure on the fuel window with these guys with 75% fuel. I think you have to get to pit road first because fresh tires matter so much. We see the speeds drop off considerably when you look at just qualifying times were 30.7, 30.8 seconds. Right now these drivers are running 32.6s, 32.7s. So Clearly, fresh tires matter a lot. So we have a battle for the lead. Steve Barnett to the inside of Nathan Maurer. They're back side by side again. And it looks like Barnett may have something for Maurer here as they're going to race side by side down the front straightaway.
Yeah, as we dig down into corner number 1, somehow, some way, Steve Barnett was able to peel Nathan Maurer off that inside lane. Now Barnett has now pushed him up the track here. As we come off of 2, we're side by side down the backstretch for the race lead.
But being on the outside is helpful in 1 and 2. Maurer's going to get a big run down the back straightaway. He's going to be able to pinch Barnett to the bottom here in 3 and 4. Maurer should be able to take the lead again here as they cross the stripe down the front straightaway and get clear. But that brought Tyler Thurman and Robbie Richards back within just a few more tenths of these guys. So every time these two battle for the lead, 3rd and 4th will reel these two front runners back in. That's going to allow one of these two to probably get passed by Tyler Thurman and Robbie Richards if they're not careful enough.
Yeah, and you look at Nathan Maurer here tonight, Tyler. I know we still have a long way to go here in this race. But you look at that 971 machine, you know, we come back from about 5 weeks off, wins that first race after we come back from break. Wins at New Hampshire last week. Now here tonight has been a top 3 truck the entire night. Now back out on the top of the grid here. We're looking at around about 45 laps to go. I know I'm not the best at math there, but right now Nathan Maurer looks like the best truck out in the field. And boy, to make it 3 in a row in what was a different winner each race of the season so far before Nathan started to stack up the streak, man, it's going to be hard to keep him off the top of the points table.
Yeah, and Justin White hasn't had the race he's needed either, so the points disparity has shrunk. It was about a 27, 28-point difference entering tonight. Now that gap is probably down in the single digits, if not less than that. It was a 23-point difference to start tonight, and Maurer has made a significant dent into that so far in this race. We're looking at Brady LeBuff, winner of your first 2 stages. See a small amount of damage on the rear of that truck that he had fixed earlier, but he has essentially stalled out here in the 6th position. Hasn't really made any more progress on the front of the field. It's a little bit hard for him to make progress to see Sean Hamilton ahead of him having some technical difficulties blipping in and out of the sim, and that's perfecting Brady's ability to get a draft.
Yeah, but for Brady, though, you can take a lot from this race, even if you don't win it, Tyler. You know, you look at the Stage 1 and Stage 2 victories, you're going to stack up a lot of points from that. If you get a top 10 or even scrape out a top 5 here in this race, you can still look at it as a win from Kentucky. You know, you finished 2nd last week, you lead the most laps, you unfortunately don't win behind Nathan Maurer there in the 971. It's still a consistent, we've been talking about here tonight, Tyler, that consistency you want to see out of these drivers heading into the playoffs. For Brady LeBuff, he's starting to stack up some really good finishes here along the way.
I think Brady LeBuff and Nathan Maurer and even Steve Barnett now. Steve Barnett was running really well most of last week as well at New Hampshire. I think the 3 of them have put the field on notice as they are 3 of the drivers to be competing for this championship late into the playoffs, barring, really poor performances in any of the rounds. But right now, it just seems like these 3 drivers, although maybe not necessarily 1, 2, 3 at the time, because Brady LeBuff's back there in 6, are kind of in a league of their own. But Justin White, I mean, he has had a phenomenal stage number 3 so far. He's already up into 7th after restarting this stage in 20th. He gets by Dan Hagan for 7th. He's now going to chase down Brady LeBuff, pole sitter, really fast driver all night long. Got back into the top 10 for both stages. Justin White is looking to maybe hunt down the leader. If he plays his strategy right, he could find himself out front at the end of this race.
Yeah, Tyler, for Justin White, that guy has mopped the floors, he's wiped tables, he's done prep work, he's done everything and more here tonight to stay inside the top 10. Started on top of the grid, crashed on lap number 1. No damage to that truck, though. Worked all the way through there, was able to scrape out a top 10 in stage number 2. Now again, Tyler, you just touched on it. Now back inside the top 10 once again. Watch out for this 28 truck here towards the end of this run and see where he makes that pit strategy at. This might be a driver we watch out for here at the end of this race that might snag that race victory.
And these drivers then are just really shown how much work they put into this. Justin White, Brady LeBuff, Nathan Maurer, Steve Barnett. Right now, Steve Barnett is closing again on Nathan Maurer for the lead. We have a battle for 3rd there. Robbie Richards looks to the inside of Tyler Thurman again. Now for about the 3rd time in about 15 laps. Can he make the pass? No, not clear yet. Thurman should have the run off the 2.
You're still side by side down to corner number 3. Robbie Richards right there. Tyler Thurman on the top side. Big run, though, from Robbie Richards down in the corner. Looks like Tyler Thurman had to check up on the entry. Good move, though. A little give and take crossover there as Tyler Thurman's now going to go to the inside. Put that nose there, shut the door on Robbie as Robbie swings that tail right in front of Tyler Thurman. A crazy move as we dig down to corner number 1.
Less than a half foot clear. Robbie Richards trusting his spotter, making the move, getting in front of Thurman, and that's going to allow him to pull away. I believe Richards was the faster truck. We'll see how much faster here in the coming months, but the next battle brewing is between Brady LaBeouf and Justin White. Justin White has reeled him in for the 6th position.
Yeah, he's slowly but surely creeping up through the field, and as much as I love TLC, we are creeping here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. These drivers, I touched on it, Tyler, here as we started off this broadcast. Watch out for some of these names that we haven't really called out here in stage number 1 and 2. It seems like every week here in this series is always 1 or 2 names that are at the end that finish inside the top 10 that were a top 20, top 25 truck all night. Then all of a sudden here in that last bit of racing, it's almost like they hit the nitrous oxide in those trucks. They fly up through the grid. They put pressure on some of these leaders up here, and they fight towards the end. You saw it last week with Raul Meza, who just couldn't get the job done in that 37. Watch out for Justin White in that 28. He's in the inside of Brady LaBeouf down to corner number 1.
That'll be for 6th position. Justin White will take the spot there. Says thank you very much to Brady LaBeouf. Brady may want to just file in behind White and see what he's doing and try to follow him through the rest of the field. Because it looks like Justin White's able to make the passes that Brady wasn't able to make and continuing to move his way forward. Now they're going to chase down Sean Hamilton, that 89 machine.
Yeah, Sean Hamilton right there, a surprise name inside the top 5 right now. Has a lot of speed behind him, though. That spotter has to get ready. He has to let him know that Justin White's coming on that 28. No matter what he does, he just has to stay consistent right there in his lines. But Justin White, though, is going to go to the inside right now. Looks like he has a huge run already on the 89 as he come off a 2 down the backstretch.
Sean Hamilton, a winner already on the season, trying to just improve his standing. He is the winner who's sitting 16th in points. There's another winner outside the top 16. They're both still locked in for the time being, but they need to keep moving forward. They don't want to be too far out of the points where that win and in no longer counts. Looks like Nathan Maurer may be pitting here in the coming laps. We've seen drivers start to come down pit road. Jason Stevenson, Tyler Daniels, 2 of them who have already been down pit road. So green flag stops coming up here shortly.
Yeah, this is right around that window that I was thinking about, Tyler, because you see that lap ticker right there in the left-hand corner of your screen here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We're on lap 95 of 135. You have to think that window is right around the 35 to 40 lap range, so slowly but surely creeping up there. But it looks like Hamilton and White are a little 2-for-1 action here as they're going to try to split Tyler Thurman in that one. Tyler's going to hold on to that spot right there. Hamilton's going to try to the outside here as we dig down to corner number 1.
Brady LaBeouf, Dan Hagan, Jason Morales, and Tim Hammond all down pit road. They bring Donnie Lyons with them. The rest of the field so far out. Charles Keller Jr. also dives down pit road. So some big names that were up near the front of the grid are come down pit road. Will anyone else come down pit road this time by? Nathan Maurer is going to say no thank you one more time around. Staying with Steve Burnett. Cody Knott looks to have already completed service. Robbie Richards as well, still staying out for the time being. So right now the battle will be between 4th, 5th, and 6th. Tyler Thurman, Justin White, and Sean Hamilton. White makes it 3 wide into 1 and 2.
Yeah, White's going to dig the inside of Tyler Thurman in that 1. Will he have enough here on the exit of 2? Looks like he has a big run. Going to use a little bit of that side drive coming from Tyler Thurman in that 1. Still side by side as we dig down to corner number 3.
Thurman had to check up heavily entering 1 and 2 because he was afraid of the contact between himself, Hamilton, and White. That's going to allow White to jump to 4th. Meanwhile, the racing back out front, it still is Steve Barnett and Nathan Maurer still staying out on track. Brady LaBeouf, though, first driver on the grid to take fuel and tires coming down pit road, but Nathan Maurer just said he's coming down pit road this time.
Yeah, we're going to have quite the reshuffling of the grid here with less than 36, 37 laps to go when everything gets reshuffled here as Nathan Maurer at 971. You see him slowing down just a little bit here around the corner.
Correction, he was not saying he's coming down pit road this time. Apologies, Phil. He was letting Tribute, who's on fresh tires.
He is not going down right now. Looks like the leaders are still out here, Tyler. And as you're starting to see some of the other drivers in the field head down pit road, is this a disadvantage for these leaders?
The longer they stay out, the more those drivers on fresher tires will be able to put hot laps in on the field, lap in, lap out, especially drivers like Brady LaBeouf, who right now is lapping a second and a half faster than our leaders. Ran a 31.1 last time by, compared to Maurer's 32.7, I want to 32.9. So significantly faster laps for Brady LaBeouf, and is going to make up a lot of that gap. So Maurer's going to have probably more work to do on the back end the longer he stays out here.
Yeah, Brady LaBeouf, though, with a lot of speed here tonight. See if he can make up for what's been a pretty disappointing stage number 3 here tonight for a driver that's been inside the top 5 majority of the night. We talked about it, though, Tyler, if he could scrape out a top 10 or even a top 5 somehow, still be a win with those 2 stage victories here tonight. Leaders are still out here as we cross over pit road here, across the start-finish line here, make it lap 101 down into corner number 1.
Yeah, the top 4 have stayed out so far. It looks like everyone else, though, has pit. So drivers like Tyler Thurman have come down pit road. Still your top 4 out on track, and that top 4 includes the drivers of Nathan Maurer, your leaders, Steve Barnett second, and then Robbie Richards and Justin White. Everyone else has pitted. Correction, Sean Hamilton is not pitted, and Brandon Broadfoot. So Brady LaBeouf, your cycle quote-unquote leader, sitting there in 8th position. Broadfoot has just come down pit road now, so Brady LaBeouf will now slot up into 7th. So of drivers who have pitted, it's going to be 7th on back at this point in time. Barnett stays out yet another lap. Maurer stays out another lap. Richard stays out another lap, and Justin White stays out another lap. So these 4 drivers are really putting all their eggs in one basket and running long here.
Yeah, we'll see how this pans out here. It's a strategic race week in and week out here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. You try to see which driver has the best strategy, but even for some of these drivers that headed down early in that window here, their equipment's going to get very old towards the end of this run. Whereas the drivers that we still see out here on the track, their equipment will start just be getting a little warmed up here towards the end of this run. So it was a give and take game here, Tyler, towards the end of this race. Which strategy is going to be the most beneficial?
Problem is, by staying out late, you're handicapping yourself on how many laps you have to run down those guys when they're on the old tires. You're on the fresh ones, as we see Justin White coming down pit road here. So now it's just your top 3 out still on those tires. They're all running over 33-second lap times. I want to see what Brady LaBeouf's last lap time was here. Brady LaBeouf ran a 31.49, so a 1.5-second difference every lap for Brady LaBeouf over these front 3.
Yeah, Brady LaBeouf here as we're watching a reshuffle of the grid here. Nathan Maurer still out on the racetrack in that 971, but you see some of those other names in the mix still right now. Justin White's still out. Hess is up there right there inside the top 10. Hamilton's inside the top 10. Blanchard's right there in 11th. Tim Hammond, we talked about him heading down that first window. He's up to 12th right now. Lyons headed down with the 69. He's in 13th. So we'll see who's the race leader after all these green flag pit stops take place.
Look at where Justin White is on track. He dropped all the way to 12th. He is nowhere. He's not even in the top 10 currently. So he's gonna have a lot of ground to make up when everything cycles back out. Justin White, though, losing a lot of ground, or just inside the top 10.
Just inside the top 10 in that 28 machine here around the corner here. Watching everything play out here during these green flag pit stops. Looks like Robbie Richards now entering the track here on the inside. Down the backstretch right now, we're going to have, after everything settles out, Tyler, we're probably going to look at around 25 laps to go when everything settles back out. But currently on the racetrack, Nathan Maurer is our race leader.
Yeah, the only 3 drivers who have not pitted: Nathan Maurer, Steve Barnett, Raul Meza. Raul Meza obviously on a different strategy after having damage. Steve Barnett, though, just came down pit road, so that means your leader is the only one still out on track. That's Nathan Maurer. He's going to run this all the way, it seems. Raul Meza just said he's pitting as well. Brady LaBeouf, Maurer's now in. Maurer is currently in. Catches up to Raul Meza at a really bad time. Meza maybe significantly below speed. Means the lead will cycle out to Brady LaBeouf. How big of a lead, though, Brady will have is yet to be seen.
Now, Tyler, here as we watch everything reshuffle here on lap 107. Now, me as a fan of F1 or IndyCar series, it's that word of coasting, of conserving there, going around the corners. If Brady can build up enough of a lead, that equipment starts to fail you here towards the end of this run. Does he have the ability to start coasting around these corners, or is it just full steam ahead all the way to the finish?
Brady has to run as hard as he can while he still can, because Nathan Maurer is going to come out with a very, very, very fast truck. Nathan Maurer just left pit road that time. Brady LaBeouf, you see, just exiting too. Nathan Maurer is going around on the inside, so Nathan Maurer is going to have to deal with some traffic, and Nathan Maurer is behind Justin White. That's the big deal here. Justin White is going to defend very, very difficult over Nathan Maurer. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can chase down Brady LaBeouf, who's currently your leader, see how quickly Justin White can do it. And then Robbie Richards there racing with them. Robbie Richards is on slightly fresher tires than Justin White, so how much he can chase down the field in the leader.
It's very bunched up right here as we dig down to corner number 1. Checking out Ryan Chu right here. Very banged up Monster Energy machine. Look at these drivers right here, though. Justin White in that 28. Robbie Richards in the 48. And Hamilton in that 89. They're battling out side by side. Down the backstretch right here. Make it lap 108. Down the backstretch for the position.
For all you keeping track at home, Brady LaBeouf, your current leader. Drivers on freshest tires behind him. Justin White, 7.7 seconds back. Robbie Richards, 7.7 seconds back. Sean Hamilton, 7.9 seconds back. And Nathan Maurer, 9.3 seconds back. That was all the last lap cycle time. So we'll see how close and how much they can close in on Brady LaBeouf throughout this run to the finish. But there is not a lot of time left. 26 laps to go. 27 laps to go.
Definitely not a lot of time left indeed, Tyler. This race has gone quick, fast, and in a hurry. And one thing, I don't want to put the commentator's curse on it just yet. We haven't had a yellow flag in a long, long time. That is not something Brady LaBeouf wants to see in that 9 truck, as he's still our race leader down to corner number 1.
Ryan Chu's tires have fallen off. Now the hunt is on for those drivers who were leading the majority of this stage. Chase down Brady LaBeouf. Brady LaBeouf pull off the strategy call to perfection, or are these 4 drivers who are hungry going to get to him? Well, that lead now to the next big name for Brady LaBeouf. It's 6.6 seconds, and that's to Robbie Richards, a good friend of Brady LaBeouf and a teammate on the Friday night series that they would run together. But Robbie Richards, owner of Brute Force Motorsports, and Brady LaBeouf, owner of Mission 1 Esports. It looks like they may be the ones battling it out here at the end.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for these guys. Not only will they have to build up the speed to catch Brady, there's going to be a lot of names they have to get past here. You look at Hess right there in front of them. You know, they're gaining momentum on him. But you also look at Dan Hagan's been very strong here tonight as well. So a lot of names in between those top 2 guys, between them and Brady LaBeouf. So that's going to give Brady a little bit more cushion here towards the end of this race.
Dan Hagan, part of the Warrior Racing Esports, so not technically a direct affiliate with Brady LaBeouf's Mission 1. But important to note, Justin White is a Mission 1 Esports driver. Kyle Hess is a Mission 1 Esports driver. So those 2 drivers are Brady LaBeouf's teammates. How much will that play a factor versus Robbie Richards and Nathan Maurer, the Brute Force Motorsports drivers? So you essentially have 2 teams racing down to the wire here. It's Brute Force versus Mission 1. And man, those drivers who are on the fresher tires are closing on Brady LaBeouf. And closing relatively quickly, make it about 5.5 seconds this time by.
Yeah, and wherever Dan Hagan finishes tonight, Tyler, my hat's off to him, and his performance here has been top 8, top 10 truck all night long, top 5 in those stages as well. For a name that hasn't really shown up too much here this season, Dan Hagan, though, is making himself known here in this race at Kentucky, but he's got to wash out. He's got a full steam train come behind him. Nathan Maurer in the 971. Robbie Richards in that 48, and right outside of that picture is Justin White in that 28. Now I'm going to go to the outside of Dan Hagan. Nathan Maurer in the 971.
Yeah, Nathan Maurer, I think, has the speed. He should get to Brady LaBeouf here in the next 15 minutes. Robbie Richards as well, Justin White, but Nathan Maurer has the freshest tires of those 3. Nathan Maurer, I think, is going to be the driver who has pulled this off just to perfection. We were worried he ran too long, but I think he's done it with just enough time, with still having well over 20 laps to go.
Yeah, 22 laps to go here as we dig down into the corner. Nathan Maurer is leading a charge with Justin White right there. Look at other names in the mix inside of that group. Trying to catch our race leader, Brady LaBeouf, right now. Tyler, do you think Brady is aware of this charge that's coming behind him, or do you think he's just focused on hitting his lines?
He needs to be focused on hitting his lines, but he definitely has to know that they're coming. It's not like it's some drastic surprise. These guys are running really good lap times. The season getting bigger and bigger as there's no lap traffic between them now. It's just Brady LaBeouf is directly ahead of these guys. They can see him. You can see them in his rearview mirror. He's just got to hit his marks and look out the front, although it's really hard to do that sometimes.
We make it 20 laps to go as Brady LaBeouf will take us down to corner number 1. Nathan Maurer is currently in second right there. Robbie Richards and Justin White are battling it out for third on the racetrack. Now, this is what Brady wants to see, though, Tyler. He wants to see these guys battling each other for a position that gives him a little bit more of a cushion. If these drivers can stay together, form that single line, they'll catch Brady quick, fast, and in a hurry. But right now, there seems to be a little battle brewing for third.
Yeah, the battle for third, though, is not going to affect Nathan. he's in a world of his own right now, chasing down Brady LaBeouf. But yeah, that battle for third is going to hurt either one of those two guys from getting to Brady LaBeouf. So this may help Brady LaBeouf guarantee a top 2 finish tonight. But I mean, it's half a second plus every lap Nathan Maurer is gaining on Brady LaBeouf. Call it 2.7 seconds this time by, and eventually he's going to start picking up Brady LaBeouf's draft on these straightaways, and that gap's going to close even faster.
Yeah, Nathan Mauer's trying for that turkey dinner here tonight. Make it 3 in a row if he wins this race here in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. As we're down in the corner number 1, make it 18 laps to go.
Yeah, Nathan Maurer last lap, that time was a 32.1. Brady LaBeouf's last lap was a 32.7, so another 0.6 out of that lead. Call it 2.1 seconds. Brady LaBeouf's just got to keep looking ahead, keep moving, because Nathan Maurer is really coming and really charging hard.
He is charging quick, fast, and in a hurry right now. Brady LaBeouf's just trying to hold on to that top spot around corners number 3 and 4 right now. Down the backstretch, make it 17 laps to go. The hunt is on for that 971, and Nathan Maurer, he is coming for that top spot. See if he has enough time to make it happen.
Big battle now brewing for the 5th position. You have Dan Hagen, Kyle Hess, Steve Burnett, and Sean Hamilton all under a blanket 2x2. Burnett closed drastically. He's the faster truck. He's going to make it 3 wide there.
Yeah, Barnett's right to the inside here. He's trying to shoot the gap between these drivers here. He's going to go to the outside of Dan Hagen right here, and Barnett, a driver that's been in the top 3 all night, trying to scrape out a top 5 here as we're going to cross this line, make it 16 laps to go. Down to corner number 1, looks like Nathan Maurer is now inside the draft with Brady LaBeouf in that 9, getting very close here off of 2.
Nathan Maurer is there, and he's going to take the lead on this straightaway. Brady LaBeouf knows he has nothing for him. He's just going to give Nathan Maurer the inside, realize that it's not worth hurting his truck. Brady needs to just kind of run his laps and hopefully hold on to a top 3, top 5 finish here tonight. But these drivers are coming for him in a hurry. Steve Barnett, fastest truck on track the last 5 laps. Steve Barnett has just been rolling through the field.
Yeah, Barnett in that 42 truck now has his sights set on a top 3. He sees Robbie Richards up there. He sees Justin White. Although Nathan Maurer might be our clear winner here tonight, the way he made easy work of Brady LaBeouf in that 9. Now he's starting to build a gap on that 9 truck right now. There's still a lot left in this race. A podium finish will mean a lot as we creep into those playoffs.
Yeah, Robbie Richards now trying to join his teammate inside the top 2, hunting down Brady LaBeouf. Justin White, Brady LaBeouf's teammates, trying to get himself into a top 3 finish. All these drivers have so far won on the season, the entire top 4. First driver without a win is actually, I believe, in 6th position because Steve Barnett also has a win on the season. Hamilton has a win too. It's Kyle Hess in 7th.
He does, all the way down the grid right now, and that's interesting to see, Tyler, as we slowly but surely creep into those playoffs. These drivers are now staying consistent the way they're running. They all have wins on the season now, all inside the top 5. So the strongest trucks in this field are showing out here tonight. Now Nathan Maurer trying to hold on to that position right there, as it looks like he's starting to get a little bit more pressure on him there for just a brief moment. Looked like Brady LaBeouf had a small run on him there. It's going to close now as Robbie Richards trying to hold on to that 3rd spot, down into 3.
Robbie Richards slotting actually into 2nd. Justin White slots in the 3rd. Brady LaBeouf drops all the way back to 4th position. Brady LaBeouf just kind of trying to hold on to a top 5 at this point with how his truck's fading. He may have came down a little too early. He was the first driver down pit road, and it's going to bite him in the end here. Steve Burnett now trying to close in on that number 9 machine.
Yeah, we talked about when we saw that strategy being implemented there, Tyler, how long Brady LaBeouf can hold onto that truck. And boy, like with 12 laps to go, that truck is fading away from him, as you mentioned here. And for Brady, you don't want to see all the work that you put in all race long start to slip away from you. You want to try to scrape out a good finish. But with Steve Barnett in that 42 coming up fast as well, you're going to have to really fight to hold on.
As we're coming down 11 laps to go now, this time by Brady LaBeouf still has a little bit of a gap over Steve Barnett, but really the race still there. It's a battle for 2nd between Robbie Richards and Justin White, and they're side by side off of 2.
Yeah, drag racing down the backstretch right now. Down to corner number 3. This is a battle for a second. These guys have been in the top 3 all night long. Justin White started on the pole position here, had that first lap incident where he spun out. No damage to that truck, though. It's kept him fast on the racetrack here tonight. Still side by side across the line as it looks like Robbie Richards will close the door. Down to corner number 1.
Justin White's really going to be imagining what if he didn't have to go through the field twice tonight, once to start stage 3, the other time to go through stage 1, dropping through the field, do that spinning out on lap number 1, and then a slow pit stop during the stage 2 break meant that he had to drive through 20 drivers just to get to the front. That's going to hurt him tonight. They're side by side again, almost contact made off of 4.
Yeah, it looks like Justin White's getting the momentum, getting the speed to almost get around Robbie Richards there, and then Robbie closes the door. So quite a battle for second playing out on the racetrack here with less than 9 laps to go. But it looks like Nathan Maurer, though, going to put some lapped cars between him and second as we cruise down to the corner. Nathan Maurer, though, Tyler, if he makes it 3 in a row here tonight, man, he's going to be hard to beat down the stretch.
He has to have cemented himself as the championship favorite at this point in time. 3 wins is a lot of playoff points. He's making up ground on Justin White for the regular season championship. If he wins the regular season championship too, well, I mean, he's pretty much locked himself through the first round, maybe even the second round at this point, Nathan Maurer. So Nathan Maurer is really helping himself out on playoff time, and it's going to make his life a lot easier. He can afford to maybe have a bad finish that other drivers can't afford in the playoffs.
And I think I touched on it to start this broadcast here tonight, Tyler. You know, Nathan Maurer essentially came out of nowhere. Within those first few weeks of the season, wasn't one of the most consistent drivers out there, really started getting the bearings underneath him. Maybe that Christmas break we had, that New Year's break we had, really sparked something inside that 971. Came back from break, won that first race, won at New Hampshire, and now here tonight looks like to be the clear winner here to make it 3 in a row. So, boy, he comes from a name, and that could really happen to anybody here, Tyler, as we count down these races to the playoffs. You start stacking up some wins together, you can make yourself known as well.
You know, side-by-side for second, side-by-side for fourth. Steve Barnett gets around Brady LeBuff to the inside here off of 4. Doesn't get clear just yet. And it looks like Barnett's going to take the position for the time being, but he's got to make the move through 1 and 2 this time by. Will he clear Brady LeBuff? No, Brady LeBuff holds strong on the outside for the time being.
Yeah, Brady LeBuff is trying to squeeze everything he can out of his truck here just to hold on to position as we dig down in the corner number 3, still side by side for position.
Yeah, that battle for 4th rages on. Nathan Maurer still out front. Battle for 2nd rages on. Battle for 4th rages on. But Nathan Maurer is way, way comfortable out front as these drivers have 5 laps to go this time by. The only thing Nathan Maurer doesn't want to see right now is a caution.
Yeah, no caution indeed. We haven't seen a caution in quite a while here. The NASRA 360 Racing Network. This has been William Tiller. I've been joined up in the booth here tonight with Tyler Dittmer, and Adam Flieger has been the man behind the decks here with 5 laps to go. We're watching Nathan Maurer essentially close in on 3 wins in a row, Tyler, but a lot more positions to be had here with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, Nathan Maurer has really put his stamp on the field tonight. He's trying to lap all the way up to 13th position now. Christopher Blanchard, the next driver that will fall victim to him soon. And I really think with Nathan Maurer, what sparked him may have been getting wrecked out of the lead at Pocono. His home track, he had a dominant truck early on in that race, just gets hooked essentially on the front straightaway, blows the engine out of that race. And since then, he has been arguably one of the best drivers in the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series.
Just been on an absolute tear with 3 laps to go. Throw up those 3s. Rest in peace to Dale Earnhardt. He just looks unstoppable. He looked the same way at New Hampshire last week. Brady LeBuff led the most laps, couldn't get the job done. Nathan Maurer won by about 4 or 5 seconds. Now here tonight, at a completely different track at Kentucky. Looks like he's going for the same amount of winning margin here with about a 4-second lead with 3 laps to go. He is on a tear. He is on a mission. Make it 2 laps to go as Nathan Maurer will take us down to corner number 1.
Steve Barnett may have hurt his chances to get the 4th position. He hit the wall for 4 about 2 laps ago. Right now, though, the best battle on track is that battle for 2nd that we just had. Robbie Richards, Justin White, they're within a 10th of a second. They got a lap truck between them. That's Lawrence Pugh in that 19 machine. It's going to affect how these 2 drivers race. Can White use him as a pick? Can Robbie Richards use him as a pick? Well, that's going to affect White's entry there into 3 and 4. Meanwhile, back out front, Nathan Maurer is looking for the white flag here at Kentucky.
Nathan Maurer is going to take that white flag, and he's essentially going to have a parade lap around Kentucky down to corner number 1. That 971 is all by himself, coming off of 2 as our clear race winner down the backstretch.
Justin White still trying to hunt down Robbie Richards, but it's been all Nathan Maurer all night long. That 971 has been unstoppable. He makes his way through 3 and 4 the final time. He's going to be kind to Chris Blanchard. He's not going to lap him. He'll only lap up to 14th tonight. Nathan Maurer coasts around through the tri-oval, takes the win here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network 200 at Kentucky Motor Speedway.
And boy, what a clean and finessed win it was out of the 971. And Nathan Maurer had some contenders up there with him. You saw Brady LaBeouf go zooming by him there. Nathan Maurer said, that's okay. Even Brady touched on it where he said, Nathan kind of let me go there. But once Nathan got that mojo back here in this race, got to the top of the grid and never looked back there, Tyler, essentially just coasting the entire last 80 laps or so to get his 3rd win in a row.
Oh, we have drama there. Justin White gets involved with the 19 Lawrence Pugh here on the cooldown lap. We just saw that live here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. But let's get to the burnout of Nathan Maurer. Should be on the front stretch at this point in time. Nathan Maurer celebrating a little bit differently tonight. He's going to do a burnout down pit road, around the pit stalls. He's going to come back out to the front straightaway and celebrate, giving a show to these fans. But, I mean, he put on a clinic tonight, Will.
He really did, and he's put on a clinic now 3 weeks in a row. Here tonight, he made it easy, made it look easy, excuse me, in those last 80 laps or so. Never really felt any pressure up there. Nobody really tried to put anything on him up there. It's just seemingly as once he passed that second place car on the grid, that was it. He checked out. And for him here tonight, at a totally different track than from New Hampshire, he's going to be our clear favorite heading into those playoffs. Just the way that spark has driven him these past couple weeks.
Yeah, Nathan Maurer just put on an absolute clinic, and really no one had anything for him. Even Brady said after winning the first 2 stages, he didn't really think he had what it takes to hold off Nathan in the long run. Just kind of got lucky with how traffic played out and how the races played out in the first 2 stages. But Nathan Maurer burns it down here at Kentucky. We're going to quickly look at our final results before we get to our top 3 interviews. Definitely some interesting things to talk about with our top 3, and especially that race for second between Justin White and Robbie Richards. But we'll quickly run through the final race results. Nathan Maurer, again, your winner here in Kentucky. Second place, Robbie Richards. Justin White, 3rd. Brady LaBeouf, 4th. Steve Barnett, 5th. Kyle has 6th. Sean Hamilton will finish 7th. 8th goes to Dan Hagan. Brian Chu, 9th. And rounding out your top 10, Brandon Broadfoot. As we go through the rest of the results there, you see Hammond, Lyons, Blanchard, Pugh, Tribune, Thurman, Meza, Daniels, and we talked about Meza not having the result he wants to tonight. Top 10 points driver, just finishes a lap down there in 17th. Jason Morales not having a good night either. Cody not involved in that early wreck. Just a lot of drivers not having the results they were looking for tonight.
No, and I think, we touched on it a few times here tonight during this broadcast. I think the heat is now starting to get very hot for a lot of these drivers here. The time is starting to run out on their playoff hopes. We talked about the schedule coming forward here. Kind of an all-star race coming up. We're going to have Homestead before that all-star race. Then after that all-star race, we're going to have 4 races till those playoffs start. It's a very difficult 4-race stretch as well. So if you're on the bubble after a Homestead in that all-star break, you got to really start thinking to yourself, do I have what it takes to make those playoffs?
Yeah, we're now going to be joined by our 3rd place finisher, Justin White. Justin, you were battling with Robbie Richards throughout the race all night long. You two talk to each other a lot, working together sometimes, you and Nathan Maurer as well, all in the same voice chat. What was it like battling with a friend of yours, Robbie? what is it like trying to race clean and not wreck each other in those last few laps?
Just trying to stay clean with them. I mean, I respect Robbie. Just trying to make sure you avoid the lap cars who think they need to be involved in the last few laps. Like I guess they hung out in the back way too long and they need to feel relevant there. So I guess I mean, you know.
Yeah, we saw some frustrations there on the cooldown lap with a lapped car. I believe that was Lawrence Pugh. Just some tempers boiling. He felt like he was in your way from being able to compete with Robbie Richards there at the end. Does this carry over in the future weeks, or is this one you kind of just roll off your back?
I mean, I'm over it. As long as he continues to be respectful. I mean, you don't come into a league for your first race and run the leaders like that. Especially the top 3 points guys. I mean, you just don't run them like that there towards the end of the race. You get out of the way and let them battle it out. But if he wants to carry it over, I'm definitely not. I'm going to stand my ground here, and I'm waiting on him. I mean, if he wants to continue it, we'll continue it. Otherwise, it's over for me.
That's good to hear. And before we let you go tonight, Justin, is there anyone that you'd like to thank that makes it happen for you?
Yeah, I want to thank Brady for putting on the league. Thank you guys for broadcasting. I want to thank my viewers on stream, Scott, and of course, thank my teammates. Partial co-teammates, what do you want to call them, Nate and Robbie for being there, and their mother, M1 Sport Motorsports teammates. They run me clean every week. Don't have any issues with those guys, so appreciate those guys. And then I want to thank Grinds Coffee Pouches for helping me kick chewing tobacco. Guys are looking to quit the habit. Get grinds.com and they will take care of you and make sure that you kick that habit and put you on the right path.
Well, thanks for talking with us, Justin, and we'll hopefully talk to you more next week. Seeing that be pulling together the right performances, and wish you the best of luck the rest of the season.
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
That was our third place finisher, Justin White. But now Will Tiller is going to be joined by our second place finisher, Robbie Richards. Over to you, Will.
Yeah, Robbie, in that 48 machine here tonight, you were a top 5 truck all night long. Here tonight, you're going to finish second. Good finish, second place finish here behind Nathan Maurer. Take us through that race here tonight at Kentucky and what was probably one of the most exciting races we've seen this season.
I don't know, man. It's crazy because I'd say probably the last 4 times I've ran here, I've won every one of them. So I felt pretty confident coming in. Um, just Nate, man, he's good. He's real good. I didn't get much practice time, so I think that had a good bit to do with it. But throughout the race, I mean, it was just mainly just keeping yourself out of trouble, watching who you're around. I mean, most of the guys who's been running up front this whole season has been fairly clean. So I mean, you can kind of pick out who you got, who you can race hard with, and whatnot. So um, you know, going down, I thought I could short pit it a little bit before Nathan and have the run on him, but he ended up catching back up with us. So didn't do much. And my focus was mainly just trying to hold off Justin, apparently second place.
Yeah, take us through that battle, because that was a battle we watched there for the last 5 or 6 laps or so between you and Justin White in that 28 machine. Justin White came into this race as the points leader. That's going to be very close to Nathan Maurer with 3 wins in a row. Do you think you're one of the strongest trucks in the field week in and week out? Here tonight, you made it known. We're going to be sandwiched in between the points leader and the guy who's won 3 races in a row. Are we going to see this 48 truck here break out in the next couple weeks? And could you be one of the trucks in contention for the championship?
I sure hope so. Starting out, we come to Daytona, got the win there, secured our playoff spot. I knew Nate's always been good. That's why I got him on my team. Justin, I've got a ton of respect for Justin. I knew he was going to race me clean. I knew that I could trust him running side by side close. Um, Never had any problems with either one of them. So I knew that I could run them hard and they could run me hard. I know Justin had some issues with the lap truck. It kind of helped us keep our spot secure. But he was all over my rear the whole time. Uh, Never once touched. So that just goes to show that it can be done. And these people, if just patience and knowing what you're doing, you can run hard and have fun doing it.
Exactly. And it looked like you were having fun here tonight. And looking forward to next week at Homestead. We go to South Beach after racing at Kentucky. How do you feel about that track? And do you think you can keep this momentum going?
Homestead's always tough for me. So, try to run the high line up near the wall, the typical line there. Always end up getting in it. So we'll have to see how it plays out. I haven't always had good luck there.
Well, great finish here tonight. Robbie, you're going to finish in the second position, right behind Nathan Maurer, who's won 3 races in a row, and right in front of our points leader. But Robbie, before we let you go here tonight, go celebrate your top 2 finish. We'd love to give you that opportunity to shout out anybody you had watching here tonight or any sponsors that made this race possible for you.
Yeah, NRE Power Systems, What's Poppers, Hoopty's Garage, Racer Hub, and Blanchard's Towing, and obviously you guys stream. Tyler, I know you like to run a lot, so thank all you guys for doing that.
Of course, thank you for an excellent show here tonight. If it wasn't for you drivers, we'd have nothing to call up here in the booth. So congratulations on that top 2 finish here tonight, Robbie, and good luck next week at Homestead. I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, fellas.
At this point, we are finally going to be joined by our race winner here in the broadcast booth, Mr. 3 in a row, Nathan Maurer. You get it done again tonight after kind of a rundown Brady in both stage 1, stage 2, falling short there, but getting it done very easily here in stage 3 and kind of coasting to the end. What was it like for you in that third stage and playing that pit strategy?
Very nervous when I came out of the pit. I know Brady and Steve were definitely they're definitely faster than me on the short run. I was racing against Steve Barnett there when it came down to the final pit stop. I was waiting for him to pit, and then when he pitted, I chose to come out next lap. And I was a little nervous when I came out like P8 or 9. I thought it was going to be over for me, but Brady was like 9.5 seconds out front. But then I realized he was on 11 lap old fresher tires and had plenty of time to reel back into him.
Yeah, and reel back into him, you did, closing at a rate of about 0.7 a second a lap, and just absolutely a masterclass on negotiating traffic, getting by. What was it like talking with your buddies and your friends who you guys run 1, 2, 3 all from the same voice chat, kind of communicating all race long? Is it kind of special when you have nights like those where it's just like you and your friends can't really find anything to do wrong?
Yeah, I felt bad when I came out of the pits, and I got around Justin and Robbie, and Justin's like, the only way we're going to catch Brady is if we all 3 of us get in the line and draft together. I'm like, man, I'm sorry, I love you guys, but I got to go. I got like 4 lap fresher tires than you. I cannot stay back here. But they ended up passing them anyway. But, but it's great to see Robbie. I know last week I think he had to start off in the EOL, finished 3rd or something, and tonight Justin went to the back 2 times and finished 3rd tonight. So it's kind of cool to see us all up here in the top 3.
Well, I gotta ask, do you think you can get it next week 4 in a row? Homestead, Miami Speedway, do you think you have what it takes to just absolutely set the league on fire with a 4th win in a row?
No, Homestead, the big wide 1.5 miles. I'm not good at there. I'm not good there. And there's Auto Club, not good there. Chicagoland, I'm not good there either. So the biggest thing I found, like I know I'm not the fastest guy in here. Like Steve Barnett, I mean, I thought for sure Steve Barnett was just as fast as me, but he just had to save a little bit more tire. I thought after he watched me a little bit, after I got around him after one of them runs, a lot of guys were just flat-footing in 1 and 2 the whole night, and the more you flat-foot in 1 and 2, going to wear out your tires, the more you can't get around 3 and 4 is good. And when he checked out again from me, I'm like, go ahead, buddy, just hand it to me. And Steve Barnett was a lot of good racing there. I know we got into each other. I know I kind of called him out, said he came down on me, which I'm pretty sure he did. I didn't even go back and look at it. But he had a hell of a save there, and he rebounded to a top 5. So congrats to him.
Yeah, I've definitely watched a lot of fun watching you and Steve and Brady compete all night long, and obviously Justin and Robbie as well. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank tonight that makes it happen for you?
Yeah, guys, all of this happens because of Brady. Brady does a fantastic job running this league. I was in another league that was kind of ran like this, and it was nothing like the one that I'm in now. This is from I just like the way it's ran. It's great. So props to Brady. Shout out to all you guys up there in the broadcast booth. You guys I shouldn't say wasting your time, but you guys are taking time out of your nights to come and broadcast this great league. And shout out to all my teammate Robbie Richards. Shout out to my good friend, not a teammate, Justin White, and shout out to also Chris Blanchard. I know he got taken out early by the wrecking ball, but yeah. So hopefully we keep this momentum going.
Well, again, want to congratulate you on setting SimRacerHub.com Truck Series history with 3 in a row, and wish you the best of luck next week. And go enjoy celebrating that win.
Thanks, guys. You guys have a good week.
Thank you. You as well, sir. And Will, and that puts, I think, a perfect cap on our day tonight in this series. It's just been an absolute blast. We've had a lot of fun, and it's been definitely a new challenge for all of us. Still working on some of the broadcast kinks, but we're improving with every step, and we're hoping to bring you all a great product in the future. Again, Adam Flea, you're doing a great job, and it's also just nice to see your shining face.
Awesome to see yours as well, Tyler. And we're trying to put some new bells and whistles on the broadcast here at the NASRA 360 Racing Network. But folks, NASRA 360 Racing Network is live almost every night of the week. You can get all your racing fix here. So we invite you to go check us out. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, follow, all those good things. So you can stay up to date with all the racing action that takes place here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network.
And us two will be back in the booth next Monday night from South Beach, Homestead, Miami Speedway. That 1.5 miles, one of the most fun tracks on the iRacing circuit, iRacing calendar. And it comes to you for the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. I also like to take this moment to advertise our next new series, Saturday nights. It'll be an IMSA multi-class series, single driver, no teams, but multi-class racing, payouts to individual class finishers, championship 10-week season-long points, something different here at NASRA we're trying to get going. We got a lot of interested drivers, a lot of talented drivers, so look forward to bringing that to you all on Saturday nights in the near future. But again, my name is Tyler Detmer. That is my man, Will Tiller, in the booth. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in and wish you all a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you all next week.